Confederate statues in this country are a representation of people that wanted to keep another group of people enslaved, bro.
Trump
Only
is a Nazi. Trump is
no,
this.
this no,
Hold on,
no, this just happened a couple days
let
ago.
me explain. Let me explain,
Listen,
please.
you said you like context, right? So we're
Oh
gonna be specific. What they blamed
man.
Trump for was Russian collusion. That was the big
Hear the other
word,
side.
Russian.
Why are they so prone to keep lying about him? Like Russia Gate and all. And Hunter Biden's laptop is fake. Why does that press always lie then?
Even Trump's Department of Justice said
Yeah.
that it happened.
No, bro.
Yes.
Go look up YouTube right now. See what CNN was saying about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Conservative states suffered from that COVID stuff the most because
How do we know that he signed it?
Okay, so this was all right. So how do we know that Trump signed 1,500 pardons? Okay, there we go. There we go. Earlier, even with the JFK thing, right? Everything is a conspiracy if you don't actually know what's going on. You think you know what's going on.
All right, pod is good.
All the time.
All the time.
And all the time.
Pod is good.
Everybody, welcome back to the Pod is Good podcast. I am your host, Cashmere, California. Today, most of y'all might have saw the last episode. Me and my guy kind of got into a little altercation and it ended abruptly. Interesting thing happened after that. One of the viewers was watching the show and felt like, wow, there's some things that I like to discuss with this young brother. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like we're going to have a great meeting of the minds today. We're going to keep it respectful, but bringing them to the studio so we can have this chat. Let me bring back my man, South Central Conservative. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you guys.
Thank you for coming back. And my man, Daquan Julius, what's going on, good guy?
Just going good, man. Appreciate you for having me, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you both for stepping into the arena as we have our first debate between a guest and one of our viewers. I think that's great dialogue that needs to be had, and it's kind of why both South Central and I both started our platforms to kind of get great conversations going and get great ideas, kind of brewing together. So without any further ado, Daquan, you hit me up and you said there was something that you heard South Central say that you felt like, man, I need to speak to him about that. What was that?
It was about the whole thing about propaganda against Trump. One of the things that I've seen, especially over the years since Trump got into politics, was everybody trying to say, because Trump coined this term called fake news when he first got in, and what he did was he turned everybody against the media as if everything the media says is a lie. But a lot of times, like we watching him say this stuff like in our face. Like not only we watching him say, we watching him do it, and then next thing you know, you'll get somebody to come on and say, "Well, he didn't mean it this way. He didn't mean it that way." But he keeps saying and doing the same types of things over and over. For instance, the main thing that really got to me, because I'm from the South, was the incident he brought up about the both sides thing, right? Just to be honest with you, what you said, Trump said, he didn't say. But if you wanna, I'll even give you that. Even though he didn't say that, what you said, he said there were fine people. There were very fine people on both sides. He didn't say nothing about except the racists. He did say that he condemned the violence and all of that because that's a political statement to make. But my question would have been to you was, let's say for instance, right? Because I'm from the South. Let's say for instance that you outside and you see the Ku Klux Klan outside, right? And there's some people with them and they're all shouting towards you. You're going to naturally expect that, hey, they have a problem with me being here as a black person because of what they're shouting about, right? The Ku Klux Klan is shouting at you about you being, oh, you shouldn't be here, you're a black person, da da da. But there are some people in that group that I guess what Trump would say, very fine people, right? Because they're not neo-Nazis, but they're there with the Ku Klux Klan and they're shouting at you the same way that the Ku Klux Klan is. So by nature, you're going to understand that they obviously have the same ideal in mind. So when you come to this incident about the both sides incident, the reason why there was an uproar was because there should have never been a both sides argument. At the end of the day, you had people going there to protest the removal of the statue of Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee is only known for one thing in this country, and that was fighting for the Confederacy. That and what he was trying to do was he was trying to stop people that look like me and yourself from from being freed from slavery.
Yeah.
So if you are on that side, it doesn't matter if you not being violent. It doesn't matter anything. It's about the ideal that you're protesting for. You protesting to keep up a memorandum of someone who didn't want somebody to look like me and you to be free, bro. And so it doesn't matter. There should have never been a both sides. There should have never been anybody riding, flying any swastikas in this country doing any of that, man. And at the end of the day, I believe we're all, upstanding gentlemen here, educated, whatever it may be. But there are certain things that you just not going to stand beside, right? So if there's somebody who's a criminal, and you don't want to have that kind of label on your jacket, right? Why are you around them? Why are you doing the same things you're doing with them? So that's where the uproar came from. The uproar came from him saying very fine people on both sides. That's not propaganda. That's what he said on TV. And not to mention, I'm gonna let you go in a minute because there's a lot about that. Like if it looked like a duck and quacked like a duck, man, it's a duck, bro. Donald Trump has a history of this type of stuff. And he does so much stuff that you keep forgetting that he does it, right? For instance,
Uh,
Trump retweeted a video on Twitter of a white man yelling white power. He did that as the president of the United States, man. You can
uh,
actually still go Google that. It's still there. He did it. Like the video was there. It was on the presidential page, right?
I ain't see.
We all know about the Central Park 5 incident. They asked him that after he became president. He still didn't want to roll that back for some reason. Why not? Okay. He didn't want to rent to people that look like me and yourself back in that time. Of course, he get a lot of this stuff from his dad. Everybody know how racist his dad is, but he was literally writing C on the applications for colors. And then, stuff like getting rid of affirmative action. Why bother stuff like that? Something's going on with the economy. Fix the economy, bro. Just the other day, something he rolling back a ban on segregation for for government facilities. Why does that matter to him so much? And like I said, man, at the end of the day, he can't help who he is. He's an older guy. He does say a lot of crazy stuff that conservatives were blaming Biden for. Trump goes up on at the presidential debate and says that Haitians are eating cats and dogs, but he's not old and senile like Biden was, though.
uh,
And the only thing that I'm saying, so when you want to talk about propaganda, bro, there was only one network that got sued and lost by a lot. I'm surprised they're not owned by this company now for lying and spitting propaganda. And that was the biggest conservative based program, and that's Fox News. None of these other networks got sued, and never they didn't lose because nobody was spitting propaganda. So that's why I had to get that out.
All right, I appreciate that, bro, and thank you, conservative, for letting him get his bars out. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Let him
been
get his
thinking for a
round
long
off.
time. I see he's been thinking for a long. I hear you, dog.
Hey, let the
It's a
man get
lot.
his round off. I appreciate it.
I hear it. It's a lot. You
All
hear
right,
me?
man. So respectfully, we're gonna give you the floor. Please, man. Please address the matters brought up. I know you're gonna bring forth some others. I get it. I get it by now, but you got the floor.
All right. So when it comes to the good people on both sides, right? Telling the half truth is a lie, right? They did play, the whole propaganda behind it is basically they played that he did say good people on both sides. That's not the argument. The argument is that what did he mean by it? Context? Context matters, right? You can't just say he said good people on both sides and he's talking about the neo Nazis who had the swastika flags and things like that. No, he was very distinctive about what he said. And if you watch the whole thing, which is I did my due diligence to do, right? It's not even an argument anymore. If you watch the whole thing, right? And I made several videos showing the whole video of him saying that except the neo-Nazis and Antifa, right? There's good people on both sides except these individuals, which it makes sense to me, right? No harm, no foul. But the problem is that when it comes to conservative individuals, and I mean white people as far as them wanting Robert E. Lee the statue up or whatever he stood for, right? At the end of the day, it's history, right? In order to not repeat history, you have to know history. So that's a part of history. Even though you may not like it, it happened. Just like I don't agree with white people saying, "Oh, we should just get rid of anything that has to do with slavery because it no longer exists." No, that's a part of history. You can't just get rid of it because you don't like it. So that's just what it is. So when it comes to propaganda, the only reason we're complaining about that is because they used it against him as if he was a racist person. It already painted a narrative. Well, he didn't distinguish this, and they played half of the video, right? Which got you basically arguing this non-fact because I mean everybody got everybody got YouTube. You could look it up just like I posted a video. I found it real fast. Like why you can't look it up? I'm not, but you bring up a lot of things that pertain to Trump, and I'm only touching on a couple of facts. I ain't gonna say I forgot. I heard you very well, but like, bro, when you spin, it's hard to tackle like one thing at a time. But basically, when you said the five, right, the Central Park Five, they at the time, right, at the time, not saying now, right, at the time, they admitted it. We all know now the cat's out the bag that yeah, they were forced to, or they were kind of forced or basically how do I say this? They were not adults. So the police had a very much influence on them not testifying, but admitting that they did it, even though they didn't do it. At the time, I'm from New York, right? I'm a white man, whatever, or a black man, doesn't matter. I see a woman get attacked. I don't know who did it, but these kids come out and say that they did it, right? The truth ain't out yet. At the time, it's like, bro, I want them gone. I want them gone. I'm gonna stand firm on that because I don't agree with women getting raped at the time. Now, would he apologize for it? No, because at the time they admitted it, right? They were acquitted, yes, but they admitted at the time. I have to take a stand on my community. If somebody come in my community and rape a woman, I'm gonna feel the same way.
Well,
If they admitted at the time, I'm gonna feel that same. Get them out of here. You get what I'm saying? And I understand that that's when it coming from Trump, it's like, okay, well, it's kind of great, it's kind of racist. But they're not talking about the good things he did. He was a former Democrat, right? He put a lot of black people, they say he did a lot of redlining. He did, well, I don't know anything about that. I'm not gonna confirm or deny because I didn't do my research on that. But what I would say is that a lot of people don't talk about the black people he did house that were homeless in the Trump Towers, right? They don't talk about that because it doesn't matter. I want what makes my narrative of him to make more sense. And most people go with that. My thing is, why don't they tear down, right? And I'm not trying to I'm talking to my boy my boy Cashmere. I'm not trying to, what I'm saying, go elsewhere with it, but if that's the case, we should tear down Planned Parenthood. Why don't we tear that down? Margaret Sanger, who is she? Huh? We can't tear that down. It's still up. But people have selective anger. They have selective anger to what they want. I want Robert Lee torn down. We still commit genocide in a womb, but we ain't tearing them down. They still pushing it. And who was that meant for? If you hear Margaret Sanger's teaching, who is she targeting? Planned Parenthood. Who is she targeting? It's still happening to this day, but yet there's no uproar. There's no uproar. Everybody just we chilling. We chilling. But mind you, black people are under attack by our own people. But it was given to us by these white individuals that they speak of, but the lines are blurry here. We want to attack Robert E. Lee, but what about all these other programs that we still partake in, right? And I'm from South Central, so I talk about the drugs and the guns that were unloaded to us. We still partake in it. We know it's wrong. We still do it, but there's no uproar when it comes to that. When we have every right to have anger towards these same exact folks that we talk about racism, we screaming racism. That's why we don't. That's why it's hard for conservative black people to listen to y'all. I'm just being honest. It's hard for us to listen to y'all because the things that's still affecting us, especially the genocide in the womb and the genocide out in the streets, we don't talk about that. Black on black crime, no, it shouldn't matter. You don't talk about black on black crime. That's racist. So we just gonna focus on Robert E. Lee. We gonna tear that down. What's that gonna do for us though? We tore the statue down. We changed Ancient Mama, What is that going to do for us? What? Selective. It's selective anger. That's all I want to get into. I'm done.
All right. Appreciate it. Conservative. All right. So gloves off now. So y'all both got your time to kind of like, get it out. So like, let's get into the thick of it, because I can see both of y'all responding, visually, facial expressions as the other was talking. So let's start with the very fine people. Conservative. I'm gonna go to your side for a second and say, you did kind of change what you said in the original episode the other day. What you said the other day was, he said, except for those racists. He did not say that. I do agree with you that he did say, except for those neo-Nazis and I believe white nationalists. He did not say, it's two different things though. We got to be clear here, especially when we're dealing with somebody like Trump. We cannot mix words. We cannot mince the point. Like, we need to be clear. But here's where I'm on Daquan's side. And a lot of people are. Let's just, call it what it is. I hear what you're saying about his propaganda. They only show this. Every news station does that. If they want to show you just the moment when Biden turned around and didn't know where he was going, that's all they're going to show. They're not going to show the eloquent speech that he had. They're not going to show what came out of that. They're not going to show that he was really looking for his microphone. They're not going to show anything else except for the point that they're trying to drive home. That's just what they do. So us getting wrapped up into that is a waste. However, here is what I think a lot of us feel like is the issue. Number one, it's not the right time to call them fine. That's just first and foremost, right off the bat. If someone broke into your house and, God forbid, took somebody in your family, they didn't do that. Let's just say they just tore your house up and y'all got into a fight and people got hurt and stuff got broken. And then you telling me, bro, this and this and that. And they came in the house and they had guns and I had to, and I'm like, I mean, hey, bro, people got to get it how they get it. Some people are struggling out there. You're going to be like, I mean, yeah, people are struggling, but I'm trying to tell you that they violated me. They came into my house. No, I get it. I'm just saying, but y'all both probably good people at the end of the day. They was just in a space in that moment. You're not going to feel like you were. Now, if later on that day, I'm like, well, I mean, they ain't had no right to do that. It don't matter that I said it later on. The point is, when you go back and watch that video, what he really said in its actual time was there were fine people on both sides. Then he went on and on and on about some other stuff and other stuff and other stuff and other stuff. And later, then he goes, except for the neo-Nazi. You're right. People done tuned out by then. People have tuned out. If I said that to you, you probably done tuned me out. Like, yo, y'all both good people, and you sitting over there bleeding. You like, yo, I ain't trying to hear nothing else Cash got to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, why? Since you tuned them out, my question is,
I
why
didn't
did
say
I
I
pick
tuned
them?
him. I said everybody tuned him out.
I know. Everybody tuned them out, right? Why did other people not tune them out then? Because I wanted to hear what he actually says. Like, if I'm actually genuine and I don't have no bias towards him, and I really want to see what he's saying and what if y'all say he's racist, I'm gonna try to figure out, all right, did he not do it? I'm gonna wait and to figure out what this dude really said, in the context matters. Because I could say that Cashmere is a leftist liberal guy, but when I talk to him, if I hear you say anything about Biden, oh, he had to be, I'm done. But when you break down stuff, it's like, bruh, I don't agree with everything Biden did. Actually, I didn't even vote for him. You know what I'm saying? And then you understand where Cashmere is coming from. Okay, he might be liberal, but he have other views too, which makes him in the, it puts him in the middle. You know what I'm saying? But without context, everything is blurry. Just because he didn't say those racists, we know what neo-Nazi is. Like, what? Now we playing with language. It's like, why does everybody have a standard for Trump, but they don't have a standard for everybody else? It's like, well, Trump said it, so there's an extra standard. He has to be the racist. He has to say the racist. And when you said, all right, I'm gonna let you speak, Daquan. I'm sorry, man. Daquan, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
What I'm saying is, you said when somebody come into your house, it's illegal to break down a statue regardless. It's illegal to do it regardless. He even gave them kudos. I understand what you're fighting for. There's good people on both sides, because he could call them radicals, because it's illegal to do what they were doing. But he said there's good people on both sides. They don't want to look at that. No, but he said the neo-Nazis, let's point to them. They're the wrong ones. Y'all both wrong, because you should never been doing it in the first place. It's illegal to break, because just like how you don't care. This is how you care so much to break that statue down. There's other people that care so much, like, bro, that's a part of history. You can't tear that down. What about those people? You don't speak up for them? Their voice don't matter because you feel offended?
Well, their
Because we
voice isn't going to matter to us, just like our voice doesn't matter to them. But I'm gonna let Daquan.
that's
Let me
not
let
true.
Daquan cook. Hold on. Go ahead, Daquan.
So that's just like I wanted to say something earlier, right? So you said something about so for instance, right, when you go to you talking about you remove something, you remove history, right? So if you go to Germany, it's illegal to fly the swastika over there.
Mm.
Why is that? Because they had some terrible things that happened in that country, but we will never forget that. Confederate statues in this country are a representation of people that wanted to keep another group of people enslaved, bro. Only thing you had to do is not take it out of the textbooks like Trump is trying to do. Only thing you got to do is make sure that it's taught wherever you go to make sure that we never go back there. So what I'm saying is there was a group of people in this country that were enslaved that were me and your ancestors, bro, that never got the even now conservative talk against reparations. The Jewish folks got reparations. Everybody else who ever been enslaved before got reparations, but conservative talk against black people having reparations. Why is that, man? At the end of the day, you're talking about a group of people that had to start 400 to 500 years behind, and then whenever they finally did become free, you got to deal with Jim Crow and all of that other stuff that they really still weren't free. And now you got to make an amendment to the Constitution. You got to make this change, but guess what? They never did, man. They never changed the Constitution. When they created the Constitution, people that look like me and you weren't free, Brody. We weren't. So that Constitution wasn't written for us. It wasn't written for people like us. We have little amendments, and guess what? You can do an amendment because now you have presidents that are able to bring in Supreme Court justices and stuff. You can make changes to those things. And so what I'm saying is there were people. What I'm saying is the whole outroar of the both sides comment was about, hey, why are you protecting or defending that? Just like when he told the Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Did they not do that? January 6th came. Oh, they stood back and they stood by and they did exactly what they needed to do. They went out there, got arrested for doing what they needed to do. And what happened? He pardoned all of them. Bro, if like I said, man, we're gonna go to a chicken now. Cluck like a chicken, walk like a chicken. My boy, you gotta send him to KFC. You
All right,
understand?
so all right, cool. Well,
Cool.
but the Quan, we gotta start when you make a point. I'll address it because sometimes that's how that's how my
I
mind works.
understand you coming back with a point. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Go ahead.
kind of
Yeah.
hard to get into. So basically,
And then we're gonna jump into the chat real quick when you get after you make your point because people saying stuff in the chat. I don't
Like,
want to
hold on, hold
skip.
on. Hold on.
go ahead.
One more thing before you go, because it's a correction on the Central Park 5 thing. Trump found out when he did find out that the guy from someone came out and told on themselves, and that's what actually helped free the last guy. Trump still went out and said that he still needed to be in prison. Not only that, they asked Trump this in his last presidency about the Central Park 5, and he still did not change his answer. So I just wanted to correct that part.
Okay, so when it comes to history and reparations and things like that, I believe that I believe that reparations is used as a weapon, especially when it comes to Democrats, because you're never gonna get it. All right, and they're gonna keep telling you that because they need you. They keep needing you to vote. So it's a thing dangling over our heads. We're waiting. We still waiting. My thing is, if we ain't got it yet, we ain't gonna get it. At the time, we don't even deserve it. Who deserve it is our ancestors. They don't want that put in the work and been through it. My thing is, why are we using our ancestors' plight to justify us losing out in life when now we can compete with white folks? I'm not gonna say where I'm at now, but I'm basically the only black in this thing, doing it better than them.
Let's keep it real though. As a group, you're
You're
not
not.
But
competing.
You're
I'm not
not
worried. But
competing
that's
with
not the
white
point. Not everybody want to do what I want to do though. Not everybody wants to be around them. Not everybody okay with that.
I hear you.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
just
So,
saying we're not competing with them.
but I am competing with them because at the end of the day, it's one step at a time, bro. You can't just a group of look. I'm gonna tell you this. Since you said that, I'm trying to get a whole bunch of people where I'm at right now. People ain't willing to do it. It's just that simple. So from my anecdotal experience, a lot of black folks don't want to do what I'm doing, don't want to get in those fields where the white folks is at and compete against them. You know what I'm saying? But they okay with saying that we ain't got no representation. We ain't got XYZ, but you got to start the representation. And it's open for us to do it. You get in where you fit in. But if you ain't trying to get in where you fit in, I don't want to hear your argument.
Okay, well, okay, so so I work three IT jobs from home. I have three businesses that I run. One of them is an IT company. I have a delivery service with my mom, and I also own a truck and dispatching company. So yes, I'm up there too. But guess what? At the same time, man, I do understand this part, right? Um, we started a long way behind, bro. And the reason why you able to sit here, our conservatives are able to sit and talk about black on black crime, talk about the issues that the black community have, well, because they were never repaired. You're talking about people who were sent out into the world. It's like, you know what? That's it. Go find something on your own. Go build you a couple houses. Go find you some pigs. And even in some instances, because I'm from the South, it is taught very deeply in the South. When they were let go, if you even know I'm not gonna say if you even know, because I believe you do. Um, eh, but the police officer, they started out, their profession started out as bounty hunters, bro. Even after slavery was abolished, if they were to catch a slave, they were still taking them back to their slave owners in the South. As young as I am, man, as young as I am, and I always tell people, I think a lot of this is based on location, right? It's based on where people live. Because if you don't live around the type of stuff, I have to see this stuff every day, it don't really affect you as much. So you talk about it differently. But for people who grew up in the South, bro, like I'm young enough to have worked in the field because there's no jobs down there like that. I'm young enough to see the KKK burning down Greater St. Mark AME Church at my age, bro.
Hmm.
Because that stuff happens like that. I'm young enough where me and my cousins were walking. They have this thing down in the South called White Bikers Week and Black Bikers Week. Everybody know about Black Bike Week, but nobody know the week before is White Bikers Weekend. You go to Myrtle Beach the week before and they catch you out there, it's gonna be a problem. Me and about 8 of my cousins, we went out there. We wanted to we wanted to go just party, see what it was about. We all got put in the back of a paddy wagon. They said we were jaywalking. While we were walking, there were two other white boys walking beside us. On everything I love, man. We said, hey, y'all not stopping them. The police says to us, y'all want us to go stop them? We were like, yeah, y'all arresting us. Went over there, said, hey, turn back around, didn't do nothing to him, man. The Confederate flag still flies very high in the South. So
But
for
my
some people, you're saying this because not only that, you're also in a state that has a lot of opportunity, bro. Like you live in Cali. Like this ain't South. Well, you
You use
from New York. Then not only that, you from New York. Like you know what I mean. Like this ain't South Carolina. You talking about? This ain't Mississippi. This ain't Alabama. This ain't these places don't have opportunities that often for people like us, or if they do, they're very very small opportunities. But then when you talk about the black on black crime is based off location, my brother. It's not there is nobody. If somebody going to do a crime, nobody not going to leave New York and say, hey. Nobody not gonna go from Manhattan and be like, hey, I'm just go to Syracuse and shoot somebody. That no, it's about location. So the problem is our country is still segregated when it comes to living quarters. Mostly black people stay in the same area. White people usually stay in the same area. Asians usually stay around the same area. Our country is still segregated as much as you don't want, as much as people. Now I'm not gonna say you, as much as people don't want to understand that. But we are so far away from where we need to be as a country, man. And it's easy for people um, that don't really have to deal with that kind of stuff every day to kind of make that kind of judgment. And I know conservatives do it a lot because they hear a lot of stuff on TV, but they're not actually living these lifestyles, bro. I came from that.
okay.
I
So
came from the
oh,
trailer park.
hold on, South Central. Hold on, real quick, because I want to say something to that. Appreciate that, Daquan. You providing like great insight. I love that you come from the South, so that's a completely different perspective that we haven't been able to touch on in our dialogue together. But one thing that is valuable to even focus on, because I do think that this comes up a lot in this, like it's come up a few times already with like, why are we holding on to the past and that was our ancestors and they did it, they deserve it, and we can compete with them and we were they are. And I think that inequality, that inequity still is mistaught. I think that's why they want to get rid of critical race theory, because I think it adds to that conversation in the wrong way. But to state it simply, they had the Homestead Act of 1862
Yeah.
that actually just gave away free land. Free land. We all know slavery wasn't over until 1865. And like Daquan pointed out earlier with Jim Crow, you still wasn't really free like that. And so when we talk about, when you say we can compete, no, we can compete to the point where they allow us to compete based on where we are in the race, which feels good because we're light years past where we were. However, we're nowhere near as far as we should be when you've been held back for so long. So when you have companies like Charmin and Nestle and Toll House and all these huge those factories. There's a reason all the Midwest has all this agriculture and factories and manufacturers, because that's where you make the money. You don't make the money in the city. We in the city. We're in the city trying to get the little money falling off the tree. Out in they got acres and acres and acres and acres with factories and agricultures and farms. They are actually, that's the money. So that's why we want to benefit from what our ancestors did, because they can't. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of the people that's walking around here now, they're benefiting from their ancestors. So while we got the moment we bring it up in conversation, it's like, oh, why y'all again? But they don't say that to nobody else. They don't say that, it's only us. This conversation only comes up with us. All right, well, real quick, let me go. Respect the comments. And I apologize, Pastor Reggie Brown. I know you've been in here, and I wasn't able to really jump in, so my apologies. I won't be able to get all of them. I try to get a few of them on screen, but he did say, "Could you ask South Central Conservative what is the number one way wealth is built, and why is black wealth far less than that of whites? It was built. It was built on the transference of wealth from housing." I guess I lose what I'm saying. So yeah, your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is, how are we gonna compete when we killing each other? How are we gonna compete when there's no population we can't compete. They're the most of the population. Like, how are we gonna compete if we killing each other in the womb and we killing each other on the streets? Most of the black folks is not in Mississippi. We in the inner cities amongst each other, and we gang now. So how are we gonna compete? We X each other out in the beginning of our adolescence. We destroying each other.
Okay,
It's
so
in the
let's
mindset and the culture.
good point. But so let's just to shave that off, right? Let's not talk about the those of us that never made it, because we got killed off in the womb. Let's not talk about the small fraction of us that probably ain't trying anyway, because all groups have that. No need to build our case on our lowest common denominator, right? So like let's more focus on those of us like what we see on screen now. Those that are actually out there with businesses, grinding, putting things together, getting information, and trying to build something for themselves and their families. I'm saying because there's millions of those that we can actually have a conversation about without having a conversation about those that aren't in that race anyway. So for those in the race, let's base the question on that.
Okay, but that's very unfair to say, because when I first started off with, we now be able to compete, you said, well, we really not competing. So how are we really not competing if we cannot change the percentage of wealth if we killing each other? There's no way. How can we, if the population of them is what, for every one of us is 10 of them, you're not going to change the transfer of wealth. We can't even compete if we're not even in the game. My thing is, we're doing ourselves a very disservice and saying, hey, how is this happening? If we literally having children at the same rate as we always have, and the things are still the same way, and we have the same amount of culture, we have this, at the end of the day, there's no way we gonna compete, because culture plays a big part in it. right? Because then a person could be raised up in a $1 million family and lose it all due to culture. But if they have a strong father that teaches them the ropes, it's different. We don't have fathers at home. We don't have this. We destroying ourselves, and we don't give each other a chance because just like how he said, right? He was raised in a sundown town or raised in these racist areas, which is fine, right? And you are a product of your environment. There wherever you at, most of the, like you said, wherever you at, the crime happens. So if there's white people next to you, shit, you might be, I'm not saying I never made the argument that racism don't exist. I get it. There's white thugs, there's black thugs. But at the end of the day, my question is, if we all like niggas from California, we say niggas could game bang all day, and we know the same thing you know. Why don't we treat each other better? Because we know we ain't got no chance. We know we fighting to get to this spot. Why are we pulling each other down? Because where all of us are at, we partaking in the foolery when we supposed to be treated fair and give each other a chance, but we don't. Why is that?
I don't know. Also, don't know the
Bravo.
answer to your question that he asked. So I'm gonna go to Daquan. I know you wanted to respond.
Yeah. So my question is, do we know how crime what crime comes from? What is the driving factor for crime?
It could be culture. It could be
Culture.
yeah, it could be culture. It could be um how do I say this? Poverty. It could be poverty. It could
Okay.
be
I don't know.
anything, but it doesn't matter.
All right, so I said I asked that to ask this because where do you think the culture comes from?
come from us.
Right. How do you think we gain that culture?
I don't.
Because let's do this. We I think a lot of problems that we have is that sometimes we can't start from the beginning. They always say you cut the snake off by the head. If we start from the beginning, Africans were brought to this country, not African Americans. There was a different culture there.
But we can go back now. Like
No. What I'm saying is there was a different culture there. So when we came here, there was a culture that was taught, right? So if you do know like the term ghetto, right? You know where that came from, you know where that started. That started in Germany with the Jewish folks. Whenever the Nazis had them, and then what they did was they started putting them in these little areas. Once they started trying to get them out of the areas that were in, that's where the ghetto thing came from, right? So that's what happened with us. Whenever they finally said, you know what, let's go out here. You know, we're gonna put them out there. We're gonna do whatever they say. We can't do Jim Crow no more. No, it don't matter. We're gonna put them out there. They're gonna be poverty stricken.
okay,
What
I get
else do
you,
you
Daquan.
do?
I
Yeah,
get you, Daquan, but this is my argument, right? You bring up the past a lot. I understand that. My
because it
argument,
matters.
it matters, but to the point where it matters to know through knowledge. But once you understand, once you know better, you do better. Daquan knows. In the hood, we know. We talk about this amongst each other. I game bang. Them niggas is not dumb. We
Right.
choose to keep doing it. So who else do we blame? There's no white man around me. There's only
But
me.
I think the part that you missing is that how you think they even started get to the
I
point
don't
of
care
gang
how it
bang.
started. A
No,
little
no,
kid get
I'm
killed.
talking
A
about
little kid
that.
got killed. Now
I
you think I
know,
want
but
to talk about history?
what I'm saying is this. This is the point that I'm making. Just like you said, the main driving factor for crime is poverty. Some little kid was walking around, not just little kid, bunch of little kids. Like I said, I happen to grow up in poverty. There's nobody that I hung with that even made it out my hood, bro. But guess what? I
Same.
did some knuckleheaded stuff too when I was young. Because guess what you do when you have nothing else to do, when you have no resources, when you have no little no like no little playgrounds, no schools that's having after school programs for you, when you can barely eat. The only time you get a chance to eat is whenever you go to school, man. Like what I'm saying is like these things matter, and what it does is it causes people to rob, it causes people to steal, it causes people to sell drugs because they feel like they got to get it.
Your
But
own community, like
no,
it called people to rob their own people.
yeah, but because where do they
I don't
live?
Yeah, where
Crime,
else you gonna
crime,
go?
crime happens in your area.
You just
But
said
you robbing a nigga who don't have nothing. All you do is make him spiteful.
But
You
yeah,
hurt yourself.
he didn't
yeah,
say
but
it was right.
no,
He didn't say it
I
was
never
smart.
said that part was right. But what I'm saying is that when the reason why we're trying to tie history into this, right? Like for instance, I don't want to do too much on the Jewish because I don't want my brother here to
Yeah,
get hit. But what I'm saying is
calm
when
down.
they were whenever they receive whatever they receive, and not only that, some of their descendants also receive reparations as well, dude. This thing they created some the United States even started giving us something back in 1982, I think it was, that you know that they once they got reparations, What did they do with that? They repaired their ethnic. It's an ethnic group, first of all. They repaired that, and what happened? They became one of the what everybody believes as one of the most valuable ethnicities in the world, right? And so that's because not only did they get everybody started respecting the fact that they went through a bad time, and whenever we have people like, for instance, in our community who don't even respect the fact that we had a tough time, and nobody came to us and say, "Hey, let us undo what we did to them for 400 plus years."
But I'm not
Then
waiting for white people to feel bad.
no, it's not. But no, but what
I
I'm
don't
saying
care
is
about
this.
them.
Yeah, but because the problem is, like I said, when we're talking about the discrepancy in wealth, right? You're literally trying to say that people that were getting paid, that were getting paid, not having to pay any employees for 400 plus years, they have what you call super generational wealth. Do you believe that some of those same white folks that you around every day, they didn't? Trump was definitely one of them. Elon Musk was definitely one of them. They didn't like gain like a
Benefit.
level of you saying like an advantage monetarily from the thing. You think that all that money from over slavery just disappeared? No, it went
Not,
down to
not
their ancestors. And you're trying to say we can catch that? How?
okay.
That's why they own everything.
This is how. This the same way that Asians have the most wealth in this country, and they not white. They had no
Asians do
partake.
not
They didn't
have the
partake
most
in.
wealth in this country.
Huh?
There's no group in this country that has more wealth than the
They
Caucasians.
doing way. They doing way better than
Hold
the
on, hold
Caucasians.
on, hold on. And you make a. I don't know if that statement is true that they have the most wealth or not, but I will say this, and I'm glad you brought it up. Look at what America did for them.
For them, exactly.
Look at what America did for them. You can't shake your head now. You brought up that point. You brought them into it. You go back in the history of how America treated them, how we rebuilt them, how we gave them space, and then look at us. Like, come on, bro.
Bro, I think
Like, hold on, and
That's
you,
wild to say.
and the idea about history. This is a question that I was gonna ask you probably when we have our own conversation. Or we can talk about it today. It don't matter. But it's about the divisiveness. And because to me, I feel like no matter who the president is, if they're divisive, if they have people kind of against each other, if they're not trying to constantly find ways to bring people together, to me, you, you ain't for this country because this country got too many types of people. We don't need that. And what I mean, what I'm hearing right now is like they're so divisive that depending on how the coin flip, history can be a good thing or history is a bad thing. When we were talking earlier about Robert E. Lee, you were like, hey, man, this is some people's history. Some people got good feelings about this. Da, 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 da. You brought the history up. But then when he brought up history, it's like, why we got to go to history? And
I
it
never
seems like
said, but I never said why we got to go to history. I'm saying why are we using their
but
plight to
you did.
justify? And let me explain.
And
Like
why
I
do you
said,
keep bringing up history?
context matters. It doesn't matter that history is being brought up. It's about what you do with it. I know my ancestors were slaves. That's not my argument. What you gonna do with it? I'm never gonna sit back and wait for somebody to come touch me in South Central and do what they supposed to do what they supposed to do for me as they did for my ancestors. If
Nobody's
they didn't
saying
do it
that,
for
though.
if they didn't do it for my ancestors, they not gonna do it for me, and I'm not waiting for it.
We
It's
agree
that
with that.
simple. I'm not waiting for it. I'm
We
just not
agree
gonna
with
wait.
that. We agree with that. But here, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The same way that you're basically saying, in so many words, you're like, I'm not fighting for what my ancestors did. I'm doing me, right?
No, I'm fighting for them every day by doing me because they went through what they went through for me to have the freedom that I have today. So therefore, I'm using it and I'm not abusing it. Which means that if they were here today, they probably would have appreciated what we got today and say, "Why y'all niggas complaining? Because we didn't have none of this." I'm
No,
not
no,
because
no.
they wasn't waiting. They
That
waited
that's
to be free. They waited to be free and they got free. Now look, we are the descendants of that. And look what we doing out in the streets and look what we doing to our babies.
that argument sounds like if you were saying, well, then the slaves in the the slaves that died on the slave ships, they'd be looking at the slaves that made it like, hey, what y'all complaining about? At least y'all made it. And then the slaves that made it, but they were enslaved, but they didn't get past slavery into Jim Crow. They'd be looking at the Jim Crow black people like, what y'all complaining about? Y'all made it to Jim Crow. Like, bro, you don't just get to the next phase and now you shouldn't complain no more
We're
because you
at
better than the last group.
we're at the phase. We're what they fought for. Ain't nobody checking for us and making us stay in the house but ourselves. Who else doing
But
it?
wait,
Who's
no,
trying to
but
stop
wait,
it?
time out. Wait, time out. Wait, so so you believe that it's okay just for us to have the bare minimum of this country just because we not in chains anymore?
The bare minimum to me is to compete. I just want to be. I just want to show you that I'm better
That's
than
what
you.
I'm saying. You're right.
No,
But but the
that's
problem
not
is
the, but that's not
the
the bare
issue.
minimum. That's
But
putting me on
the
the playing field.
no, but the issue is this: you're not on the playing field. You're not on the same playing field, man. They're already 400 yards ahead of you.
They're not, because my thing is
You
this.
you you believe that?
All right. So this is my thing. I'm not looking at it as a collective because some niggas is against niggas. So I can't speak for all the black folks. I could, like I said, I could try to get some black people out the hood, but they don't want to. Can I? I'm not speaking for them. Let's like how you said. Oh well, yeah, you got some people that don't make it out. Let's not speak for them. Let's speak for the ones that's trying. If you try, you can make it. If
Man.
you try, there's some
All
people
right,
that don't even want to try because they think like you, without the businesses, without all this other stuff. And like you said, we're me, Cashmere, and you, right? We are the people that basically made it out of our communities, and there's a whole bunch of people that's still there. If we go back to the hood, we'll see them. Why are we the only ones that said, you know what?
because
I know my history. I know what we've been through. Why did I get up off my ass and say, you know what? I got to do something different. At least I got to do something different. I got to think different because it ain't helping me.
I understand what you're saying, but guess what? I also understand that we are exceptions to the rule. That what I'm saying is the same way how you would go, right? Why? Okay, for instance, this a prime example, right? The most ambiguous thing that comes with you is what your social security number, correct?
Yeah.
That mean that if you have your social security number, that's the one thing that's the only thing that you have that's going to separate you from, because even you could have the same name as somebody, you can look like somebody, whatever it is, right? So why when you fill out a job application you have race on there?
I'm
What's
still
the
trying to
purpose
figure
of
that out.
that? But
I'm still trying to
exactly,
figure that out.
because you know the reason why, man.
No, I don't.
Because guess what you get an opportunity to do with that? Guess what employers get an opportunity to do with that? They get to look at the young white boy who got the same resume, a slightly worse resume to you, and they get to choose him over you because your name is Daquan or your name is South Central conservative.
But
That's
my,
what they
my
get to
question is
do.
this though. My question is this: what about the black people to get? I mean, I'm in a union. What about the black folks with the black name? In order to get on the job site, you got to have a little diversity. What about me winning? What about me winning because I'm my skin? What about that?
What you said? What? Because said it one more
I'm
time.
I'm in a union, right?
You
It's
right,
good to
right.
have you might have a woman
You right,
you might have a woman on your team. You might
right,
have a black. In order to get this government funded job site, I
right,
need diversity. So what
right.
about me winning? They didn't pick the white man for this one. They picked me.
Yeah, because guess what they had to do? They had to do what you call a quota. That
Right.
in itself is racist. The fact that you have to force a government to pick somebody because there are too many people that look like them is racist. Because what that means is what you're admitting is that if you believe that all of these white people that's getting these jobs and these higher paying salaries over the conglomerate of black intellectuals, more, by that amount, that means you're saying that you believe that black people aren't as intelligent as these white folks are.
That's what I'm look, I'm on the same side as you. Keep that in, lock that in. So when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion and DEI, you should understand where conservatives come from. Because we saying it's
No,
racist.
no,
We
yeah,
saying it's
it
racist.
is. But that's not what they're saying. That's not what Trump's saying. Trump said some junk like, "Oh well, it's because of DEI that the planes crashed." He didn't even know it even happened. Don't you know they at the Department of Defense right now? They took Jackie Robinson's military service off. They stopped. They're trying to stop teaching the Tuskegee Airmen. Why? Why
Yeah.
are they bothering stuff like that, man?
What are your thoughts on that, conservative?
They're trying to stop the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, they had to, well they said they didn't want to teach about the Tuskegee Airmen anymore, and somebody
Right.
had to come in and make them change it back, change that rule back.
Yeah.
Why? Why are they
But
bothering that?
I didn't do enough research to understand why. I don't even understand why would they do that. But to be honest,
It blew up. Like it blew up all over everywhere.
Did you hear about the Jackie Robinson thing?
Yeah, the Jackie Robinson. They took his page down.
No,
Why?
I don't know. They took everybody page down. What do you mean?
No.
You talking
That's
about,
not
are
how
you
that
talking
goes.
about page as far as what? Like his
So
Instagram?
they literally went into their
No,
archive on a
that is
website,
Instagram.
dude, and they
I'm like,
took
what?
down
They took
no.
everybody page
What
down.
I'm
What do
talking
you
about,
mean?
I'm talking about their like the website that like on
No,
the page that he had
website.
dedicated to Jackie Robinson's military service, dude. They literally went in like why are they spending that much time doing stuff like
But
that?
what's the
When
context of it? What's the
it
reason?
doesn't matter the context.
DEI
What's
is
the
You
purpose
so
of
gotta
look.
have a
covering
reason
No,
though.
I'm gonna tell you
it?
DEI
DI, yeah.
because their view, at least from what it sounds like, their view. This is all DEI. So they specifically put out a memo saying that for all of these bodies, if there are any digital pages, if there are any publications that it basically and this started with a DEI thing, remove it. And
That's
so they're
fair.
looking at Jackie Robinson.
That's DI.
That's fair. But was he
How is
there
that
before?
fair?
But was he there before DEI? Or was
Yes.
it? Or was he?
This
This is my thing. Or was it put there because he was forced? They were forced to put it there
No,
because
this is you're
DEI.
talking about these are archives. These dude went into thousands and thousands of websites. It's not just Jackie Robinson. Like these they literally are in there taking their time, taking down black accomplishments. Like like what like there is so much going on in this country and this economy for y'all to be sitting at DOD worrying about something like that, dude. Not only
Well,
that,
hey, I
you
think
got the Ukraine stuff, the stuff with China, all that stuff going on, but you end up worrying about taking down Jackie
that
Robinson
matters.
military service.
But that matters. If it's DEI, we should reverse that because you talking about fair. You want fair. You don't want them to look at us like we the people with our hands out. You want that. That's what it comes with. But when you forcing people to do things they may not want to do, like putting Jackie Robertson in the article, whatever, if they really felt that way and you force them to do it, you may look at it as Black history. What I'm saying is don't force people to do shit that they don't want to do. If
Okay,
you're
okay.
doing that, if we gonna reverse that, we gotta go for everything.
But that okay, so
That don't make
what
sense.
you're turning, I want to be clear on this because I understand your response, and I get the sentiment of being forced to do something or with a group of people that you don't want. I get it. I may not agree with all of it, but I do get it. What we're trying to say about this Jackie Robinson thing, to be clear, um, modern day DEI started with the Civil Rights Act. That was 1964.
Mhm.
Okay, Jackie Robinson played 1947 to 1956. Okay. So this ain't about DEI. Okay.
Then why was it brought up?
Because Trump brought it up at PXL.
So that's the context of it. So if he felt that it was DEI, then why shouldn't he take it off?
But
Because
why?
so
It's not
okay.
illegal.
So
It's not
I didn't
illegal.
nobody
We voted for
asked if
that.
it was illegal. So hold on. So what you saying
What
is
you mad about then?
so
Go
it's
ahead.
Because
the
he
same
getting
stuff
rid
you
of
was
Black
mad
history
about when it
for a
was other
reason.
administrations that you didn't agree with. Because at a certain point, you got to remember you are elected by the people. So I ain't even hear conservatives asking for that. That's why it's a problem. It ain't just go and do stuff on your own
But,
whim. You were
but
elected to do the will of the people.
exactly.
That's
So
why.
there must this because we don't hear him saying that. Like
So you're
conservatives
gonna
say
just
that.
make believe
He
something.
must. I'm not saying I
We're
make
just gonna
believe
say
anything, but
mysteriously somebody.
I just believe that people have voices outside of me, your voice, and Daquan's voice. That's all I'm saying. Somebody has to be in his ear because why would he just say
All
Jackie
right.
Robinson? Let me just flip through this book real quick
So
and
what do you?
find him. That don't make sense.
So
But it's
I can't
Pete
do
regardless,
it.
Hegseth. And Pete
regardless of that, what do
Hegseth.
you think about it? Regardless of
What do I
the
think?
reasons why, what are your thoughts?
I think
The fact
I
that
think
the first black professional baseball player who not only
I
is
know
he
what
a
you're saying.
hero in baseball, they still have Jackie Robinson Day to this day, where everybody in the whole league wears number 42. On top of that, he went and fought for the country. That's what the page is about. The
Right.
page is
Yeah,
about his military, the fact that he fought in the military and being a hero back at home. The fact that
right.
the Civil Rights Act don't happen until a decade later, but your guy in the middle of what I don't know why this is happening in his first 90 days in office, it's that high on his list. Like, we got to get this Jackie Robinson dude up out of here,
But
man.
and like I said, what I don't we don't have the context right now.
I'm
What
not
you saying
saying
is
the
DI.
context. I'm just
I have
asking,
I
what do you feel about hearing
I
it? No
I don't know,
context. I'm just saying, what do you
but
feel?
I can't have feelings without context because that's false. Then I
Well,
come
it's
back
under
later
DEI. It's
because
under DEI.
okay. So my thing is this: if I give you feelings right now, it's not backed by anything but how I feel. I want to know why. Just like how Trump
You
said.
told me your thoughts don't have to be connected to facts. So just tell me how
No,
you
you asked me my exactly, but my thing is, I'm just saying when I told you that opinions don't have to be facts, that's just a definition. It doesn't need to be rooted in fact. It's just the I gave you the truth.
Okay, so what's your opinion?
I don't have an opinion about it because I can't unless I know the fact. I know the truth and what he said and with the context. My thing is just off the rip, like how you said and how Daquan said. When Trump said it's good people on both sides, my first time hearing that shit, I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? There was neo Nazis out there. What's going on? Without context, it's easy to get in your feelings. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to disregard that because I
Okay.
know how I will feel
Can
about
I
it.
ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? So
Go
you
ahead.
don't think people that hang with neo Nazis and out there rallying against something that were rallying against somebody that wanted you to be a slave, you don't think those are bad people?
I don't think that. I think that most people fight for different reasons. Most people fight for freedom of speech, and they will fight for. And I got some black folks too that will fight for even neo Nazis' right to speak. That don't mean that they hang with them, they cool with them. I'm just fighting for their right to speech because I understand that just because a certain amount of people don't like something, don't give you the right to say shut up and I will close you down because it happened a lot when even being a conservative individual. If I speak and say certain things, and out your mouth, you said when it comes to Jews, you know
Huh.
you, and it's not supposed to go like that.
Yeah. I'm
So there's
glad you
supposed to
said
be people
that
fighting on
though.
the other end.
So
Yeah.
you feel some type of way about Trump kicking out the Associated Press, saying that
Say it
they
again.
were covering him negatively.
Yeah, I like that. I love it.
All right, so you just contradicted yourself there.
I didn't contradict myself. So
Yeah,
you got to
because you're talking about freedom of speech, right? And now he's actually talking about the actual institution that represents a freedom of speech. He's actually kicking out somebody from a news station because of the way that they cover him.
Okay,
And
great.
so
Let
yeah,
me
like
explain.
that's
Let me explain why they almost got him killed. Trump is a Nazi. Trump is this.
no this no
Hold on,
no
hold
this
on, hold
just
on.
happened a couple days
Let
ago.
me explain. Let me explain, please, because he almost got killed. Several assassination attempts due to how they painted him. Because now the narrative stopped. He's a neo-Nazi. Trump is he wants to take away people's freedom. That voice now is gone. Why they not talking like they talking now? You seen Obama hanging with him, but he was a Nazi. He wants Nazi. He raised his hand like Hitler. He's Hitler. You got a press talking about me like that, and almost died in front of my son on national
But
television. Done.
that's still
You're done.
but that's still just talking though.
What are you talking, bro? Propaganda will get you. Look, I don't know.
Propaganda.
Cashmere might make it up there. If they talking about my boy and labeling him something that's gonna get him hurt, even as a conservative, I would say, bro, that's wrong because
So so
they saying things, painting a narrative, and it ain't gotta be true.
so
Like we
so
said, good people on both sides. It ain't gotta
So
be true. Go ahead.
how can you tell other people to stop other people from telling them to shut up
Because
about Robert E. Lee?
you said why?
How can you defend? Yeah, because you just said that you give them. You say like you all for freedom of speech, right? So their freedom of speech or whatever it is that they want to defend Robert E. Lee, right? You don't believe that whenever Obama was president, a bunch of people didn't come after him all the time.
My,
What press?
Every president.
Who? Yeah,
okay, so let me explain then.
who from the press did he kick out?
Okay, so let me explain. He didn't take their voice away. He just kicked. You can't talk to me. It's not. Look, you can talk, but just don't talk to me.
Yeah, well, you do take their voice,
That's
but
fair.
because you take them out of the, he kicked them out of the press room.
Get out.
So
You can still
that
have a
means they
press.
can't. No, that means they can't. That means they can't report on what's going on with the president.
They still do. What do you? They didn't stop
No,
nothing.
the associate he kicked. You saw? Have you been paying attention to what's been going on?
Of course, if I kick you out the press room from asking me questions, get the hell out. What that had to do with
No, but not
censoring me?
just him. He also his press secretary. They
Good.
can't talk to her neither.
Good. You don't need
But
to
that means
talk
they
to me.
can't. That means they can't cover the president.
They could cover him without talking to him. You don't
That's
need
not
to.
true. They
That
have their
what?
own questions though. That's the
I
whole
don't
point of
care
the
what
press.
questions they got. You don't look. I believe in merit. Some people don't deserve the spot that they got. You don't deserve to talk to me. You don't
Well,
have to
listen.
talk to me.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell
There's,
you what concern.
there's consequences to your actions. If you sitting here telling lies about me, why? Just look. This is what I don't get about people and holding people accountable. If you sit there with your press and your free voice and lied about me, I'm not trying to stop you from talking because they censored Trump. They kicked him. They kicked him. Even the president. They kicked him off of every social media platform to where he had to get on True Social and create it himself. Right. Let's start there. Right. But then
Because he
you got
kept
listen,
lying.
let me land. I'm gonna land. He didn't censor none of them. All he said was you can't talk to me. How was that taking your voice away?
Because that literally their jobs is to cover the president.
You could cover me without being there. They
No,
do it
you
all the time.
cannot.
It's
No,
not the
you can't.
same. It's not the
So
same.
No,
my
you
question
can't.
is this. So if he's saying that, hey, when you guys covered me, you covered me disrespectfully, and you guys basically lied about me. They didn't cover him all the time. They did that.
But can I tell you this? Can I tell you
They
this
did it
though?
outside. They did
Let
it
me.
outside the press
Okay, so
room.
And let
all
me
right,
let me
so
just ask the
so
question, and you can add this in, Daquan, is how would America feel? How would the conservative right feel if, when Obama was in office, he kicked out everybody from Fox because they didn't say, because he didn't like how they talked about him? They would be saying he's against the Constitution.
I
They
don't
would
I
be
don't
saying,
care what Fox say. I will say
that's not my question to you. I'm not. That's not my question to you. You just got done saying. You just got done
you gotta let
saying.
me explain. You gotta let me talk to let me
You
finish
just
to
you
understand what
just
I'm
got
saying.
done saying.
Context matters, man.
You just got done saying. I'm giving you the same context. President for president. Every single president. Look at the files. Every single president gets death threats. Every single president gets assassination attempts. Every single one. Even those just trying to be president, campaigning, get it.
So
Okay.
did they
So
say that?
so so president for president, media for media.
All
Right
right.
wing, left wing. So
Okay.
the left, he didn't like how the left wing media talked to him. Get out. I'm
Okay.
saying, could Obama not like how the right wing media talked about him? Hey, you put up what they do. They had a magazine that had him and Michelle looking like they were like freedom fighters, and the other one looking like they did all kind of caricature things with him. You think he could have kicked them out, and everybody would have been like, "Yeah, that's good, Obama."
Okay. So we talking about characters, right? Characters saying that you was a freedom fighter. We're talking about Russia, Russia, Russia. We talking about no. We talking about severity of you can talk all you want, but when it's affecting my life, it's different. I
It's
can't
not
say
though.
it is. I
But
can't
it's
play with
not.
you. I
That's the
can't
point
play
I'm
with
trying
you.
to say. Is freedom of speech is freedom of speech. It
No,
don't matter if I say I'm going to
but
kill
also
you or I'm going to tickle you. I
okay.
have the freedom to say it. That's
Right.
freedom of
And there's
speech.
also freedom of consequences. When you talk stupid, you get stupid results.
Then
You
there's no
can't
freedom
act.
of speech.
No, there's decorum in every field. You can't just act the way you want to act without no consequence.
No.
So you just do
First,
whatever you want. You just do whatever you want and still get the same. You get the same privileges. You act whatever you want and get the same privileges.
yeah.
Okay.
So
No,
what?
no, no.
So
You got freedom of speech, but when a racist say something crazy, when he meet a black person, he can sock him in his mouth too. Oh hell, hold up, that's freedom of speech. You can't sock him in his mouth. At least I know that.
We're talking about
Whenever
the
it come out,
president, bro. We're talking
no,
about the president and the
okay,
press.
everybody
so
knows this,
okay,
bro.
so fine. We talking about the president kicking out the press. We're not talking about the president punching a neo-Nazi in his face or a Black Lives Matter person in his face. What we talking about? The least I could do is this. I can't take your voice away, but I can say you can't talk to me. That's fair.
But you taking his
In
voice away.
any business, if you do something disrespectful, yes, you have a freedom of speech. You have a freedom to eat here. But if you do something disrespectful, I have a freedom to say you're no longer wanted here. That's called business. You're no
Now,
longer wanted here.
Then
but
it's not free.
yeah, the issue that you're running into is that we have what you call freedom of the press, man. It don't matter at the end of the day, dude. At the end of the day,
Oh, it was legal.
at the end of the day, yes. As long as you're not inciting, as long as you're not inciting violence, as long as you're not out there going to try to kill the president, whatever it is, dude.
He
Like
did.
you get he. I'm gonna explain something to you.
Just explained it to you.
You're literally saying that it is okay for a president to tell the press that if you don't cover me the way that I want you to cover me, then I'm not going to allow you to cover me this way. I'm not going to allow you access to me, dude. That is authoritarian behavior.
No, it's not. Now that
Yes, I'm gonna tell you. Wait, and I'm gonna tell you this.
I almost got killed in front of my kid, but I gotta let these people talk.
Oh yeah, no. What I'm saying is, how can if the president does something wrong, right? Or he does something that the world may see wrong, but if everybody he has in the press room only cover him favorably, he only how do we know the truth? And what I'm saying, this is the type of stuff that the people that he like to vibe with, that he like to talk. That's what they do. Like every president has been covered negatively, man.
Okay, but why did they
Everyone.
lie? Okay, so my thing is this: if if you don't if you want to hear the other side, why are they so prone to keep lying about him? Like Russiagate and all, and Hunter Biden's laptop is fake. Why does that press always lie then?
All right. So I
Why does
actually,
that press always lie?
no, because first of all,
Every press
everything, no,
box.
every yeah, no, everything you said,
I had
but
a right
no,
to
but
say get
hold on,
out.
no, but what I'm
No.
saying is this. What I'm saying is this. Stuff that you're saying, like you had people that actually did like real research and digging into this stuff, where it was like it was confirmed that Russia tried to interfere in our election, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. That's another thing about propaganda that bothers me about conservatives. You guys are acting like there's not truth to that
So who got?
story.
So who got? My thing is this: if that's the case, if it's true, like you said, Russia was meddling with our elections, and it was
They were
true. Okay, fine. Who got arrested for it?
nobody
Then no, then you can't. Come on. If there's no consequences, how can you
because
say
Russia did it.
what source? Who's telling the truth? How can I believe you if nobody?
Even Trump's Department of Justice said
Yeah.
that it happened.
No, bro.
Yes. Dude,
Yes,
you
yeah.
can literally go look this up.
We
Even
can look up.
Trump's Department of Justice said that Russia tried to interfere in our
Russia
election.
involved.
The
Yes.
people, matter of fact, most of the people that Trump went after were his own appointees.
And he's still doing it. My thing is this. Okay, but you could appoint the wrong person and get him kicked out too. So at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with nothing. What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. They created a narrative, and you guys are still pushing it, saying that well, it did happen.
It did.
Why did General Michael Flynn go to jail for no apparent reason? Because Russiagate just went away. Trump was about to. That's treason, right? They said he's a Russian spy. That's
No,
treason.
no.
Stop. Let's talk about how severe this is.
Go ahead.
If he was literally called a Russian spy, they've sent him to court for it. If he was literally caught, even if they lied about it, and he had a
Who?
corrupt judges and said that he was a Russian spy, that's called treason. Is death penalty.
Who you
Death.
who you talking about?
What? You didn't hear
I
about
said
Russiagate?
who you saying got sent to court for being called a spy?
They said Trump was a Russian spy. You don't remember
They
that?
never no, they were just talking. They never sent Trump to court for that. They never tried him for that.
They
They were
tried.
doing no.
Was
What
that,
they
was
were
that
doing, they were investigating.
And they locked up
And
General Michael Flynn for that
yes,
Okay, so there were consequences to this lie. I'm telling you. So if they could have got Trump in it, they would have got him.
no.
But they
All right,
lied.
first,
But where's
no,
my thing is this? What that tainted his name? Where was the apologies? After everybody said it, okay, it was an investigation. Where was the apology saying that we were wrong? He wasn't a spy.
no. What they said was Russian colluded.
Okay.
They said Trump colluded, right? Yes, that's what they said. They said it was Russian collusion. That's what the whole word was. The only thing they said was the level of collusion didn't rise to something where he could get tried for. All you gotta do is go back and look at the all you gotta do is go back and look at the documentation, baby.
We
They never
literally.
they never they never said that Trump could get arrested for his level of collusion. But as we can kind of see now,
I don't know,
people
man.
still have
Stop
a
lying.
yeah, people still have a reason to kind of believe that hey, Trump playing with Putin a little bit. He's over there. First of all, we already know he got businesses over there. We already know that. He's over here going against one of our allies. He giving Russian talking points over here, talking about Zelensky is a dictator when he's have to go under martial law because Russia bombing the heavens out of him, but he's never going hard at Putin. Like and
Okay, so let me
conservatives
explain
just
why.
sitting back
Okay.
talking about this like oh Trump, you know y'all like to say Trump he's strong, he's a strong man.
Okay, so let me
He's a
let me
strong
explain
man.
why. Okay, fine. Let me explain why. I like the semantics. Let me explain why Trump likes Putin and why Putin is bombing Ukraine.
Right, right.
If you they had a peace treaty, right? Don't
Who had a
join
peace
NATO.
treaty?
Don't join NATO. Russia
And
and Ukraine.
Ukraine. Right.
Don't join NATO. I don't want them in my borders. It's like China, right? We don't get along with China. We don't rock with China. It's like them setting up being cool with Mexico to get close to us. Hey, look, I see what you're doing. Stop doing that, bro. Because look, if that's the case, Russia's it's a bigger country than ours. If they really wanted to take it over without NATO, they could have been done it because they trying to make it seem like Putin is a bully. If he really wanted it, he could have been took it. There's no who was stopping him. Nobody. Who's gonna stop him? He gonna go to war.
We could stop. We could
No,
stop.
no, because they tried. We
Dude,
put
first of
money.
all,
We
what is
billion
that?
dollars.
What,
Almost $1 trillion in debt trying to stop him. We can't. So my thing is this.
Russia is like a quarter of a institution compared to us. That's why
Doesn't matter.
no,
They
bro,
good
they
at
don't.
war. They're the ones that beat the Germans, the Nazis. We just helped them. They're the ones did it, not us. Okay, let's start there. They have a history of fighting. It's not we trying to downplay them like we something, but they have a history of fighting. At the end of the day,
we do too.
Yeah, we
no.
That's why we're known as the biggest superpower, dude. Like literally everybody's
on
afraid
each other. What are you talking about?
We have the strongest military in the world. It's not even close.
It's not about the military. It's about the culture. Who's holding the guns? It's the culture.
The military.
Most individuals in the military don't like our country. Most people in our country don't like our country. Them people fighting with pride. We don't fight when we have to, but they're fighting with pride. There's a difference. We fight a total difference.
Just for our armed service
but
people in the world, real quick, I just got to say, I don't think that that's true because being in the military is a voluntary choice. I don't think that it's right to disrespect them and say they don't love this country. They do love this country. That's why they're putting their lives on the line for the country, not like a lot of people would.
I'm not talking about the veterans. We like the veterans way more than these liberals do. But what I'm saying is this, because y'all elected a transgender woman.
Y'all just fired veterans. Y'all just fired veterans for no reason. What are you talking about? That don't make sense at all.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
No, y'all definitely did.
Everything without context sound terrible. But like
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the context is. Y'all fired veterans for no reason.
See, look, without context, you say no reason. That's what I'm saying. So basically, you just proved my point. So basically, what I'm saying is this: at the end of the day, we have basically destroyed Trump's reputation over and over and over. Right? We're at the press right now. They destroyed Trump's reputation over and over and over. No apologies. They didn't have enough decorum when they lied to say, I apologize. We lied.
What did they lie about?
I just told you.
That wasn't a lie, though.
That wasn't a lie.
That wasn't a lie.
Okay. Man, who am I talking to? Hey, Cashmere, help me. I don't know.
No. Listen, you said you like context, right? So we're going to be specific. What they blamed Trump for was Russian collusion. That was the big word, Russian collusion. And whenever everything came down, they said that the level of collusion didn't rise to a level of criminality. That is what came out. You had the Steele dossier, you had the oversight committee, you had all of these people go through. I look at this stuff daily, bro. I get up at 4 a.m.
So they lied.
No. They like I said, they said that his collusion did not rise to a level of criminality, and we know that. So for instance,
how you that does no criminality.
But that's what you talking about context. You got to look up the laws when it comes to collusion, baby. That's how this is.
Think about how the mafia work. Think about how the mafia work.
No, you can lock up General Michael Flynn for this, but guess what? Trump, not enough.
Yeah. Think about how the mafia wasn't enough. Think about how the mafia work. Yeah, it's easy to knock off the guy on the street. It's easy to knock off the lower level lieutenant. It's harder to get the guy that's over the whole thing.
We're talking about the president of the United States. You can't. Look, y'all keep holding them up to a standard and saying, look, it's the mafia. You're not talking about the mafia. You're talking about a president,
but
right?
He run the country like a mafia, basically. If I don't like you, you fire.
That's opinion. But my thing is this, right? You're talking about a president. You're putting out Steele dossiers. You're putting out Russia collusion. You're putting out Hunter Biden's laptop. You're putting out, he's going to pardon. If he pardoned himself, then he's a criminal. You're putting out all this stuff about this man. Nobody apologized. Nobody. So therefore,
who do you want to apologize?
Let me start. You said, why is he kicking people out from the press? These are the people doing it to me. I see him doing it. Why would I want you talking to me?
But you still do.
Listen. He's a real
president. The president doesn't get to make like 12th grade, like middle school decisions like that, bro. He's the president. He's the most powerful person in the world. You have to take that stuff over the chin, bro. He's the president. He's the most powerful.
You don't want to do. It's not illegal.
No. That's crazy. So South Central, real quick. I know what you're saying. I know how you feel, but you know us. I try to deal with fact. So
Mhm.
you're saying he don't have to. Hear me out, because we always go back to the Constitution, especially the right like to bring up the Constitution. So
Yep.
let's read it verbatim. I'm gonna just read the beginning that talks about exactly what we're talking about, and you tell me how this applies to this scenario.
Okay.
Freedom of the press,
Mhm.
as protected by the First Amendment, is the right to publish and share information, opinions, and thoughts without censorship or restraint. So now tell me how you feel that it is lawful and or constitutional to say I didn't like what they said about me because whatever your reason, it almost got me killed, it made me look bad, whatever your reason is, so I'm going to restrain you from being in this room, and you now cannot do what the rest of the press does, and you got to do it from out there. Tell me how that fits in with what I just read.
I'm gonna tell you how it doesn't fit in, because at the end of the day, he has a right
No,
to
he
kick
doesn't.
out whoever he wants. He didn't take their voice away. This is my venue, right? This is the press. This is my press conference, right? This is my area. If you guys lied on me, you're doing bad press, and it's also illegal for them to lie, right? Because they get protected from
No.
they have protection from not giving out false information, right? You have a right, right, and you have a right. No, wait. I have a right to hold you accountable for you lying in the press.
Mm-mm. That's
I
not
have a
true.
right. I have a right. If
That's
not,
not true.
Where is that though? I know you're
That's not
saying it.
true.
I hear your words, but I'm saying I've never read that. I have a right
so
to
That's not
so
to
constitutional.
penalize
but
you
I
for
could
your
file a
opinion. I don't
but
have a right. I don't understand that.
you could sue someone for defamation. They lied on this man plenty of times.
But sue him then.
Yeah, that's not what we're
Or
talking about.
just kick him out. And
But
you
I just, but what I'm saying, bro,
They work for the press.
but this is kind of why I think a lot of the right and left have a hard time talking, because at first you say context matters, and
yeah.
you push context matters when you want to introduce a certain amount of context, really to help kind of muddy the waters of the conversation sometimes. But
Wow.
when I'm trying to give you the context of the First Amendment, there's a simple word in here, and it's the last word. It says restraint. Restraint. Dude, what you're talking about is literally restraint. You're saying you cannot be in here. That's restraint. That's against the Constitution. You just heard it, but you're still trying to find a way to say, but they said this, but he should have the right. But no, you have a right. You can't just say anything about me. You keep going back to that and not dealing with the context that I just
Okay. So
gave
my
you.
thing is this: if just like you said, just like how Daquan said, sue him then. Well, if that's the
Right.
case, follow. If that's the case, put Trump in jail for doing what he wanted to do. Then, if that's the case, if it's not against the law, you say, well, to me, and also you could read the Constitution, right? But you understand when it come to law, it's very watery. There's plenty of straightforward laws that people can wiggle around. At the
I
end of the
can I
day,
can give you an example. When the Dominion Group know that Fox was lying on them, they sued them and they won a lot of money.
but do you know? Okay, fine. But
Trump
do you
can
know?
just do the same thing.
Okay,
Trump has a lot
but do you
more money
understand?
sitting around than Dominion had at that time.
But do you understand that, especially when it came to the voter fraud situation, that most of it was covered up? Do you know that most of it's hard to explain it to like it's hard to explain it, but people are still now going to jail for voter fraud. That's it that they said didn't exist. So do they get their money back now? That's what I want to know. People are still going to jail for voter fraud. So do they get their money back?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. About
See,
then
but
who get that money
but
back? Then
listen,
who get that money back? What do you mean?
I don't understand. You're
Yeah,
not
I don't
giving
know
us
what's going on
context.
here.
You're just saying,
okay, so my thing is this: they're catching people with voter fraud.
Mhm.
Does Dominion give the money back to Fox for saying that, hey, you lied on our behalf? Okay, we're not changing votes with our machines. Okay,
They
even
weren't.
though even though they didn't give they didn't give a audit, right, a forensic audit that people asked for to catch the fraud. Didn't give that up, but they have every opinion to say, right, if the judges are on your side, they're not going to push for you to give the American people, that forensic audit to make sure that what Fox is saying is a lie.
Okay, brother. All right. So I think you may not be well versed in this situation, but Rupert Murdoch, who's the owner of Fox, He came out and admitted himself that it was a lie.
Bro, if you own a
Like,
company, in order to not get sued, you're gonna do whatever you
but
need to
he was
do.
he was in the middle of getting sued. Do you see how much money they got? They probably own Fox by now.
I don't care about the money. All I care about is the American people getting the truth. I don't care about Fox. I don't care about Tucker Carlson. I don't care about none of them. What I'm saying is that the American people was complaining at the time. I don't care who gets sued because
But
there's collateral damage in anything to get the truth out. Just like trying to get the truth out when it comes to Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. It's collateral damage. They're trying. They will take down anybody, right? Because right before Trump tried to get this information out, there's a whole bunch of people that tried to get this information out that got hurt throughout the process. Does it mean that the government didn't kill him?
Hold on.
No.
What information are you talking about?
The
he talking
John F.
about
Kennedy
RFK
file.
files. They
The,
just
the
came
file.
out.
What I'm saying is that there's
But hold
collateral
on.
damage
But the
before
the Kennedy files have been out before Trump.
redacted. But what I'm saying is this, not the whole thing. Because why would he be releasing more paperwork if everything was released?
No, I'm not saying that. But you.
He
You
said
just
it was redacted at first. He just
you made more
re-releasing
of
it
a global
unredacted. That's
statement.
all.
Like it just sounded more like a global statement. You were saying people were trying to keep it from coming out like it wasn't already out.
If it's critical information, dude, it's like, oh my god.
No, I get what you're saying now, and I mean, still, some is not everything is out, but I get what you're saying.
Okay, so who is trying to protect that information?
Well, they said some of the information could be specific things like social security numbers or like personal data. Like, there's a lot of reasons why things get redacted. It's not like because there's a redaction, it's automatically a cover up and a falsehood and a narrative being pushed. It's not always exactly that, though it could be.
Okay, so why is the muddy? Why is the waters muddy? And why are we figuring it out now? This is a whole different generation here. Why are we figuring out now? By the time you figure out there was actual voter fraud, guess how old we gonna be, and people not worried about it.
No, wait. They went to multiple courts. Not only that, they even went to conservative courts. Not only that, there's actually phone conversation of the person who's complaining about voter fraud trying to commit voter fraud. There with another conservative, and the conservative is the one that told on him. You can actually hear Trump saying, "Go find me such and such votes." Now, do we have to have more context on that, my brother? Because it's there. What I'm saying is the actual person that was telling the American people that there was voter fraud because he knew what was going to happen based off of late voting, based off of the type of votes that come from the Democratic side. But okay, so what happened? Okay, so what happened this time? What happened to the voter fraud this time? He won.
They had lawyers out there to make sure that they abide. All right, let me explain to you. During COVID, they broke a lot of voter rules. A lot of voter rules. Period. That also you get this on a level playing field. They lied about Hunter Biden's laptop just to cover up to not make Joe Biden look bad. That's voter fraud because you lied. You lied.
Let's move past voter fraud because we're never going to get to the. But this right here, I want you to speak to this right here because this is a good point, and this is kind of what I was saying about the divisiveness, and it depends on how the coin falls because you did just get done saying he has every right to kick people out. Hey, you said this. I don't like what you said. You put me in a bad situation. I'm the president. I do what I want. If you got a problem with it, sue me. But then you're saying, I don't care about all that. I just want the American people to get the truth. And so this is kind of what it feels like when it's like, okay, I feel you on that point. But then when I want that point to carry over into these other areas, then then it changes. The MO changes.
So if they're known liars, why are you waiting for this is why I don't understand dumb liberal Democrats. Y'all been lied to so many times. It's hard not to because y'all saying I won't win. It ain't. Let me explain.
Y'all There's no context in that. Don't tell me that. No name calling. Let's keep it respectful.
Very much. Okay. So at the end of the day, y'all will get rid of some of your lying ass uncles if they keep lying to you. Why, when the Democrats lie, it's like I'm just waiting for the press to deliver more message because I might get the truth. You're never going to get the truth from liars. I could play you a video right now of them saying the same stuff over and over and over. Everybody's on every newscast is saying the same exact thing. MSNBC, you got CNN, all of them saying the same exact thing.
But
who's reading the teleprompter? Who's reading the teleprompter? Their job is to flip. They get they were getting how do I say this? I forgot, but basically memorandums, I think, from Nancy Pelosi giving them the narrative to push,
Where did you get that
giving them the
from?
narrative to push.
Okay, so this is where, okay, so just to push back, this is where my frustration with conservatives come, right? Um, they will push conspiracy theories that they have no valid evidence of, right? But then when we see Trump say something on live TV, we don't have context. That bothers me so much because listen, Trump lies more than any president in the history of the world, dude. Dude goes up there and just says something. Oh, Haitians eating cats and dogs. Where did he get that from? Oh my
From the
goodness.
American
Oh,
people,
you
the
get
American people in Ohio.
nobody but that didn't happen. Like that didn't happen.
They
Okay, it
said
was
it,
a lie. Exactly, he said
but
it.
they said it.
But he needs to go make sure that wherever he got that from. But that's not even what was even said. But anyway,
At
you
least he
can
listened
you
to
can
the
go back to
American
the
people.
exactly. But dog, what I'm saying is this: he goes out there and he brings up some crazy numbers from this Doge stuff. They talking about billions when it's supposed to be millions. Come on, dude. Like he goes up and just says stuff, bro. He goes up there and talk about stuff like dolphins and Hannibal Lecter and windmills. I don't know what his issue with windmills. He goes up there and talks about some of the dumbest, stupidest stuff in the world, and he lies like a rug. And you will sit here and talk about Dems paying attention to lies. Dude, like I said, only a conservative network got sued for lying and lost. When you keep talking about
My thing is,
MSNBC, CNN, and all of this other stuff, all the conservatives have to do is go sue them too.
If they were lying, that's true.
If they're lying, that's it. It's simple. It's slander.
I should sue them for I should sue them for Hunter Body. These are known lies, so we should sue them for Hunter Body's laptop.
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
said only one.
Go.
Okay, no, stop there. You said that only one. Listen, only one news broadcast was sued, right?
Yep.
You know that there's known lies out there. They just ain't been sued yet. That don't mean they don't. That's no credibility. They don't mean nothing.
No,
They still lie. Who cares?
so this the thing, right? This the problem. This the problem that I have with this whole lie thing about that, right? The only thing that the news was doing was they were pushing what the oversight committee was pushing out. That's all they were doing. They were first of all, they were literally in the oversight committee meetings. That's where we got our information from. We were looking
Okay,
at it
so
on TV.
Trump
We
got his
were looking
information
at
from the
the Congress was
so Trump got
lying,
his
not the
information from the
news
Ohio
channel.
people. So
Huh?
Trump got his information from the Ohio people saying that
No, there
Haitians
was
are
no
eating cats and
Ohio
dogs.
people saying that.
I literally got video, bro.
Okay,
Stop.
No,
I don't know. I'm not gonna
not
say you
eating
didn't see
cats
that.
and dogs. That's not what
I'm
he
not
said.
gonna say you didn't see
Bro,
that because
I did a reaction to the video.
hold on. South Central. So I'm not gonna say you didn't see it because maybe you did see it, right? I'm not gonna say you didn't see that. I guess the point that we're trying to say is at what point
Clean it up.
do
Clean them
at
up.
what point do we hold the president to the status of a president? I know that bothers you, but for you to say he just heard it from the people, he has every department at his beck and call to find out data, to get confirmation, to get real information, to get.
But Cashmere, I literally said it to refute his argument because he said
But
that
it is
these
true
people
though.
went to these boards. Okay, it's true that he heard it from the people. So what does that matter? Basically, a lie is a lie, right? That's what we're saying. A lie is a lie, right?
But
I don't care
but
who
again,
you got
you
it
just
from.
said but you just again the coin flip. You just said the
No,
only thing
but
you care
my thing,
about is the American people getting the truth. But now you're saying, hey, they all lying, a lie is a lie, whatever.
no, look, you gotta understand when he say something, I'm debating what he's saying because if he's making a point, that's my way of attacking it. So he made
No.
the point that,
So
well, hey, well, who was you getting it from? Where did he get it from? Those are non-reliable sources, right? Because you said it was a lie. The American people said it, so it was a lie. He should have done better with his research. Got you.
no,
These
the
people still lied about
go ahead.
Hunter Biden's laptop.
Go ahead.
FBI and all. They was in the conference room talking about it. They still freaking lie. We don't know what went on in those conference rooms telling them, hey, don't tell the truth about this because election going on. We could lose this election. If the American people know what's on that laptop. I had what was on that laptop way before it got out. I would look at that as a conspiracy theory. This is why I don't understand when people call people conspiracy theorists. When I was showing friends at work, niggas call me, hey, bro, that's weird. Well, how you got that information? Now it's true, but nobody came and apologized because by the time you find out the truth, nobody cares. Nobody
So
cares.
So all right. So first of all, just so you know, the Ohio police immediately came out and said that those allegations were false. Immediately. You can actually, here it goes right here. There you go. This right there. Ohio police and Trump still went on TV and said that in a presidential election, bro. That is a lie, a
My,
blatant lie. That's number one. Number two. Let's talk about. You keep talking about the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. The point that I'm trying to make to you is that the press were in these meetings. They were literally just putting a camera in front of the people that were a part of this committee of Congress, and we were listening to them ask questions. That is where we got our information from. You keep saying the press didn't push no Hunter Biden. No, this was Congress doing that. So if you want to go at Dems, like Dems for trying to hide the Hunter Biden thing, that's what you're talking about. But it wasn't the press doing it. Only thing they did was put a camera in front of the people that were
okay,
talking.
so this is all right, Dequan. I got to call you a liar now because at the end of the day, you know the narrative they were pushing. It was on CNN. You can look at go look up YouTube right now. See what CNN was saying about Hunter Biden's laptop. They wasn't just a camera in there saying, "Hey, look what the Congress is saying." That's I could believe you, but I can't believe that because CNN was their directive, not just them. It was MSNBC. They were all saying the same exact thing about that
No,
laptop,
what they
bro.
were saying was that you can't tie. Their whole thing was, why are you trying to tie Hunter Biden's laptop to Joe Biden? Joe Biden is run for president, not Hunter Biden.
So that the narrative wasn't that it wasn't that there was no
No, 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 no,
Hunter
no,
Biden
no,
laptop.
no,
I
no.
was
What?
looking
No,
it
the
up,
narrative was Joe Biden had nothing to do with this. They were trying to protect Joe Biden, which they did. That's exactly what you even admitted at the beginning. You even
but
said that
okay,
they
so
you
great.
you you said it was propaganda. No, at the end of the day, what they said is still true. Joe Biden had nothing to do with what his son was doing.
He was
His
in the
son went to
laptop with
jail
him.
for not only that, Joe Biden even allowed his son to go to jail. Granted, he pardoned him, but he allowed them to investigate his son. He didn't stop it. Right or wrong?
Okay,
Am
so
I
my
am I right or wrong?
From what
he
South Central sent
literally
me the other day, he didn't pardon him. He actually was sending me something saying that some people in the administration actually did the pardon, and Joe didn't know about it allegedly.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said he used auto pen. That's what Trump said. Because he used auto
but
pen and Joe didn't know anything.
because he wasn't by the time the pardons was signed, he was not in the White House. He was on vacation. Who else signed it?
No,
He
I'm
used
not
he
saying you're
used
wrong.
well
I
well
have no
well
No, no,
clue.
no. Hey,
no,
Cashmere, we
because he
good.
used
I'm talking
yeah,
about Daquan.
he used auto pen. Every president, almost presidents in modern age use auto pen.
Bro,
That'll be just
who
like if the next Democratic president come up and say, "Hey, all of these things that that Trump signed don't matter because he signed it with a Sharpie." I saw him today signing the Department of Education thing with a Sharpie. Man, come on,
at least we know he signed it. What
dude.
you're not listening. Right?
Oh my god, dude, dude, like every like presidents in modern time
The
use
art,
auto pen. That is a common
look,
tool. Like not only that,
look,
Trump
when
used
we
auto pen.
when that's
In his
when,
in his
see, now,
last
look,
in his
we
last.
moving the goalposts. Look,
No,
I know
no,
you
no,
like
no.
Biden. Look,
No, you're saying you're
bro,
saying that
what
you're
the
saying that because he was on vacation and he used auto pen. Dude, that don't make any sense. Trump,
how
do
do we
you
know
really
he
think?
signed
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that Trump
Daquan? The
sat and
question, look,
signed? Let me hold on, let me ask you a question real quick.
Daquan,
Do you
I
believe
like it,
that
bro.
Trump
Look,
sat? I
this is the
know.
argument. Daquan, this is the argument. How do we know he signed it? That's the argument. How do we know he did it?
But
He used auto pen. What do you mean?
Who? How do we know that he signed it?
Okay, so this
Him,
would all right. So how do we know that Trump signed 1,500 pardons? Okay, there we go.
bro.
There we go. There
The
we go.
argument is that
There
the
we go.
argument is that Biden is incompetent. Even his own party made that, right?
Okay,
They made that assumption. That's what got him out. That's what got him kicked out of the election.
he
Who
was
is
still
signing
the
his pardon?
president.
That's not the point. The point is this:
So,
who is signing his executive
so,
orders? Who?
so
If
we
he's
think we
incompetent,
think first of all, but like I'm
oh
saying,
my
for
god,
you to say, all right. So Biden went and did a interview with the View after he left his presidency. He was talking. He was all right to me. You talking about incompetence? No, the
Do
most
you know?
incompetent
Do you know?
president we've ever had
Was
has
it
been Trump.
live? Now, was it
You said
live?
was what live?
They- Bro, there were two. Look, even with
Was what
Kamala
live?
Harris. Listen, was the interview with The View live?
Yeah, it's on there. It's still on there. Yeah, you can go look at it on YouTube.
I don't say it's on there. I'm telling you this. Even with Kamala Harris, there's videos coming out where they have edited versions and they have real versions. Okay. At
Okay.
the end of the day, was it live? You could say Joe Biden was talking perfectly. That's not the Democrats' argument, right? Because how did Kamala Harris get in office? Why or get close to the office? It's the reason because the reason was because they found out they came to the assumption, we all knew this, that he was incompetent. So if
Not
he's
incompetent.
incompetent, okay,
They
great.
was saying he
You
was
can
too
say whatever
old.
you want.
They was saying he was senile. Whatever y'all was saying. Y'all was saying he was too old. He didn't understand where he
Okay,
was.
to label it incompetent. So basically, how is he signing who is signing his executive orders and who is signing his pardons? Because when you sign pardons, what I've researched and what I've seen, right? This is Trump's argument. When you sign pardons, you're supposed to be in that White House doing it. How could you sign a pardon from Timbuktu in Hawaii, I think? How could you do that?
Well,
Yeah, yeah. And see, that's the problem that I have because you just listen to Trump, right? You can use auto pen like every president has been using. Because I honestly don't believe Trump sat down and signed 1,500 pardons. If you believe Trump sat in that White House and signed 1,500 pardons, dude, you on that juice a lot more than I thought you was.
and
That's
and let's and let's
1,500
let's
pieces
keep
of
it
paper, dude.
and let's keep it real, man. We are in a digital age. There are things that
Yes.
are done for show, and there are things that are done, in reality. And so
But
I gotta
but
agree that hold on. I've been letting y'all cook. Let
But
me
you
just
raised
say
the
this.
debt for him from presidents. You raised it, not me.
But hear me out. I'm not saying nothing down about a president. What I'm saying is the way that we deal with paperwork nowadays is very different. And I can't imagine that every single time that the president needs to sign something, they got to wait till he comes back in the White House. When you or I can sign something, we can start a business, we can do a partnership, we can buy a house, we can do all these things, land transfers, all digital. But somehow the president of the United States, with all the technology in the world and Air Force One, he got to be sitting down with a pen and a piece of paper to sign every single thing into order. Come on, man. Like, just common sense that don't even make sense. You wouldn't even say
Okay,
Elon Musk got to do that for Tesla. No one would say
great.
that for
I'm not worried
anybody.
about. I'm not worried about Tesla. We're talking about the presidency. We're talking about a very particular. See, like y'all always talking about me moving goalposts. Great. So my thing is this: as a president, right? And the argument of us is saying that he's very incompetent, right? He's falling on his behind. He don't know how to speak X, Y, Z, right? Trump is signing executive orders right now in your face. Hey, even with a Sharpie, he's doing it in front of you,
He
right?
didn't sign all of them in front of us.
I didn't say he signed all of them. I say he's signing them in front of us. My thing is this: when it comes to a pardon, I would even with like I would expect a person to have real life signature, especially a president. Yeah, we do everything digital, but there's certain rules and law. There's certain rules and decorum that they have in Washington D.C. that Trump is complaining about. So if it's not a thing to complain about, why is he complaining? You think
Because
he's
he's
just doing it
weird.
because?
But
Oh my
hear,
Presidents
God!
have been
but hear what
presidents
you
have
just
been
said.
using auto pen for decades, dude.
But hear what
Like
you just
this.
said.
Come on, man. Come
You,
on,
you
man.
just you just said that. Hold on, let me make sure I heard you right. You just said that you feel like for something like a pardon, something that's that serious, that they would have a wet signature, right?
Yeah, that's the argument.
Okay. So to Daquan's point, do you feel like there was a wet signature for 1,500 pardons?
Yeah, for sure. It could be. It could and cannot. It could be. So you telling me? So we making assumptions now. So basically saying, well, you got to be crazy for him to sign it. So look, now, like I said,
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that one thing that I do know
speculation.
about Trump is admittedly a showman. He's been that his whole life. Ain't nothing wrong with that. He's a showman. When
Yeah.
he does things, even if they don't need to be on camera, a lot of times Trump is going to do it on camera because he's a showman. I just can't imagine that if Trump himself Trump, the guy that they said wasn't even sitting in certain meetings. Trump, the guy that they said doesn't like to be involved in certain things. If he sat down and actually did a wet signature for 1,500 people, he would make sure that the American people saw every single signature. That's Trump.
Oh,
So I don't
I
think
don't
that's
believe
an
so.
assumption.
Well,
No, I
first of
think that's.
all, I don't know if you
I think
noticed,
that is
Trump
an
just came
assumption.
from. What
Okay.
time did he have to sign 1,500 pardons, dude? Like he just came from a golf tournament, his own golf tournament. Our president is on his platform bragging about him winning his own golf tournament. Like who's gonna try to beat him, right? Like what time did he have to sign 1,500 pardons so fast, man? Like this
The
not,
same
How old
dude.
is
time.
He
Trump?
The,
dude,
the
listen.
same time that Joe
How old is
Biden had
Trump?
to eat ice cream. Talk about ice cream. What
Okay, but
are
how old
you
is Trump?
talking about? He was
About
on vacation his
78,
whole
something
career.
like that. 76,
Okay,
78,
78.
something
He
like
was
What
on a
70?
vacation.
Okay,
He was
let's
on
just
vacation this whole time.
don't move the goalpost to ice cream. Let's just
Oh,
stay on
now I
Trump
can't move to
and
go.
and the signature.
Wow.
Dude,
Oh,
nobody's
Jesus.
moving it. Nobody's moving the goalpost. We've been talking about
No,
the
no, no.
same thing since Trump.
I'm just repeating you. I'm repeating you. I said, don't move the goalpost.
Okay, so let's just we're just gonna it's hey we some smart gentlemen here, okay? I'm gonna take a moment out to appreciate you brothers for
yeah.
being here, for giving the Pod is Good podcast your time. We've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes and everybody's loving. I appreciate everybody in the comments. But we are not gonna sit here and lose our common sense in the midst of this conversation. None of us know a 78-year-old anybody that can actually sit there and sign 1,500 signatures. Come on, bro. Like, what are we
But
talking
but
about?
also but also it can have the same amount of people on that one paper. You telling me every pardon has like the specific name
If
with the
you
pardon on it?
if you are right
No,
about that,
that's not.
then that is another
No,
lie,
he,
because he specifically said when they were asking him before in the campaign, are you going to pardon everyone? He said, we're going to look into every case. So there's no way that within the opening
No,
day.
he didn't look. He did not look into every case. He didn't.
Okay, so then that's a lie. We can agree on that. Is that a
but
lie?
he,
He
but you
pardoned him,
can't.
bro.
No,
Is it a
but
lie? He said he's going to look at him. Is it a lie?
it's a lie.
No. All right. So this
You can agree
context
that.
matters. So he did. No, I'm
Okay,
not gonna. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna lie and say he didn't say that. He did say. He did say he was gonna do that. Right.
Right?
He said he's gonna do due diligence and look into every case to make sure that it's fair. But once Biden pardoned his son, he said, "I'm pardoning everybody. Everybody. I'm not gonna look into it. I'm pardoning everybody
But
because
okay, so
because the
let's.
argument. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So let's say. I don't even think that makes sense. But let's just give him that. Let's just say you're right. Oh, you pardon your son. I'm pardoning 1,500 people. Cool.
Because
My question to you. My question to you, my brother. Let's take the
yeah.
name out of it. Let's take the personalities all of it out of it. Let's say we're talking about the next president that won't be either of them, right? Ain't gonna be Biden, ain't nobody voting for him. It ain't gonna be Trump. He can't do it, right? If you knew that they had that kind of temperament, oh, he did that. Well, I'm gonna do this as the president of the United States. Are you voting for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because know why? Because
Okay.
context matters. Like I said,
Okay.
on paper, if you would have said that to me, not knowing what they did to Trump and how basically they they slandered him and basically try to hold the higher moral ground, saying that, oh well, Trump has to look into these cases because it was some that fought cops and all this other stuff, right? They
Uh-huh.
hold they hold the higher moral ground, but they pardon their son, they pardon Anthony Fauci, they pardon the January 6th committee. But you got
So
the higher. But no, listen. You gonna tell me that it's wrong to you telling me that I have to look into everybody's case because you want to make it. You want to make me feel like I'm wrong for not doing it, right? So if I say, well, because they try to make it, they try to say that basically there were people fighting cops. You're gonna let some people out of jail that deserve to be there, basically, right? And if you don't look into it, basically you're gonna let these murderers slash cop beaters out, right?
Okay.
You're gonna put that on me. You're gonna put the moral high ground on me, but
Okay.
you pardoning your son something you said you would never do. Why do I have to play your games by your rules, your Democratic Party, when nobody came out and said that's wrong? Why'd you
wait.
do that?
So well. I'll say this. I'll say this. First of all, trying to compare January 6th to, I actually happen to live in DC area. I think I told you I moved up here a while ago. That's how God was able to bless me around here. But you trying to compare the January the 6th to Fauci and the January 6th committee against the people who were doing the research into them?
We're not gonna get into this, Cashmere.
No,
You
no,
gonna
no,
get
no.
banned. You gonna get banned if I do this, man. I'm gonna leave my boy alone.
All
This
right,
is
look,
I love
Reginald
you.
Brown in the
No.
comments said, could we ask you to give context on why Biden made those
Those
pardons
partners, right? That's why.
put
That was why I'm asking. The
to
reason
his
why I was
son?
asking.
Okay, so this is the argument that the Dems give, right? And it sounds like I said, without context, it sounds perfect. Oh well, Trump is going to go after him, so Trump is
Mhm.
going to go after him. So they had the part, nigga.
Right.
If there is no, wait, y'all used to say, y'all used to, bro. This is a Democratic talking point. If you did nothing wrong, why do they need a pardon?
Well, because he said he was gonna go after them, and everybody knows that whenever you're going after somebody a legal case, it's not that easy to fight a legal case. It costs money. It costs
They got
time.
hella money, every single
Yeah.
one of them.
No, not like that. No, 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 no.
Oh
No,
my
that just
god,
that okay. Even Trump, right? Whenever they was fighting Trump, and that's why he's so angry. When they were fighting Trump, do you see how much money he lost by
so Anthony
fighting
Fauci was fighting Trump.
those legal cases? Who? No,
Anthony Fauci was
I'm
fighting
talking
Trump,
about the government.
bro. We're talking about you pardon. What did you pardon Anthony Fauci for?
Because Trump said he was gonna go after Anthony Fauci.
My thing is this:
That's
everybody
what
is
the comment was
listen.
about.
You can investigate. You can't just put people in jail. It's called an investigation.
No,
You
no,
don't
no.
think? Listen, you don't think the American people that want him to be investigated deserve that? We gave him a lot of money through COVID.
Okay, right.
We
So,
deserve him to be investigated.
okay,
I
right, right.
don't disagree with that.
Whenever Trump was being investigated, did he not have to retain lawyers? How much you think that stuff costs, man?
Wait a
He could. Like, I'm gonna tell you this: the biggest thing, the biggest L that Trump took for coming around and messing with y'all conservatives was he started losing money that he didn't have to lose.
We don't care about the money.
If I was somebody, listen, if I was somebody that rich, I would have never got myself into no politics. This is stupid.
And that's why we respect him. Thank you. So my thing is this: why did you said that the only reason that he pardoned these people is because Trump is gonna go after them?
Yep.
Do you know that everything comes with an investigation?
Right. So during that
Let us know.
investigation, you
Let us
still have to.
know. Like
Yeah,
so,
but no. But what I'm saying is
you
during
rob
an
the American people of it.
investigation, all right, during the investigation, still have to you still have to contain a lawyer because first of all, they got to investigate you. They got that is an unnecessary financial burden.
Wait. I thought no one was above the law. If you win a lawsuit, sometimes you can get the people that's going after you to pay your lawyer fees. You know that, right?
No, no, but they still have to retain. No, wait, what? No,
Yes,
Okay,
you
so
if you
no,
win.
no. What I know, but no. The point that I'm making is that, dude, they still have to go through that, and not
Trump
only
went
that,
through it.
an investigation like that can take years, dude.
Trump
You
went
know
through it.
that.
Trump went through it. Why they can't go through it?
But
I thought nobody was above the law.
Because Trump actually did stupid stuff like like wouldn't give back unclassified documents. That's dumb. Why not? And then like everybody tried to write off the little
Damn, that's
state
crazy.
thing, and they tried to say that Biden went after him. The state don't have nothing to do with the federal government. That's silly talking point from conservatives. But what I'm saying is Trump
You don't think he got
actually did
connections?
those things.
You
He
don't think he got
committed.
connections as a lawyer?
Man, see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like what I'm saying is that like you have to conspire things. You don't have actual evidence. You have to come up with something. That, what about this or what about this? You don't actually have actual evidence,
But
right?
see,
So these
you robbed me of it because you took that away from me by parting them. I wanted the
okay,
evidence. You
okay,
robbed me of it.
so let's say that's fair, real quick. Let's say that's fair. Let's say that the American people saw these atrocities, right? Or they saw these allegations, and they feel like, hey, we are owed the investigation. I'm gonna say I agree with that because I always say if you're saying someone did something wrong and you have some proof, cool. Let's try it. So then I think that's why people are so frustrated with the Jan 6 pardons. Because though conservatives might feel like it's cool, fine. Though everybody that loves what they did thinks that they should all be exonerated, fine. But guess what? The same way that you feel about Fauci, not everybody feels like you. So not everybody feels like you with the Jan 6. And the American people that watch that, the American people that have their own personal trauma from watching that, the American people that were involved in it on that day that were like victims of it, where's their investigation? Why don't they get that? The same thing that you're rooting for against Fauci, why are you not rooting for that when it comes to an investigation on those pardons? That be the frustration because it's all one-sided. I
They
told you
did
when
get
they said, when you
investigated.
said, oh, they got Hunter Biden, I was like, cool, take him to trial. I was right with you.
They did get
When they said,
investigated.
when you said, oh, they said Biden, but okay, cool,
Listen,
take him to trial. Like, I'm with it. But it seems like
Cashmere, they
y'all
went
are
to
only
jail.
with it if it's on one side.
Cashmere,
He
they
did
went
go
to
to jail.
jail. Cashmere,
He
like
went to jail.
they
They went to jail for a few. Come on, man. Come on.
doesn't ma-
And,
dude.
and we,
Look, have you ever been to jail?
Yes.
yeah.
The few what you took away from your family. Most of them dudes are family
No,
people.
but that's because
Right?
you did something. You did something against a dude. First of all, you ever worked
Anybody
in the
that does
government
what they
building
did
before?
goes
But
to jail.
Daquan, it was
I
some
worked,
people. Daquan, it
I
was
worked
some people
10
that went
years for the federal government, dude. You cannot come in a small federal building without an ID, without going through
trespassing.
like,
How
dude,
much?
Thank you.
How
but
much
you're talking
trespassing?
about
Thank
people
you.
that bum rushed and broke into the Capitol where Congress
Okay,
works.
so how
The
many
people
people?
that create the laws, dude.
So
Like
so,
this not like a small thing that you talking about.
bro. All right, Daquan, great. Propaganda up there. What I'm saying is this: even for
Stop doing
trespassing,
that, man.
no, it
Stop
is
doing.
for
He ain't doing
even
that to
for.
you. Stop
Hey,
doing that. Stop
look
discrediting.
up.
He ain't
No,
doing that
look,
to you. So stop
no,
doing that.
look
How
up.
is it propaganda?
Look up trespassing at this minimum. Look up trespassing. Them most people didn't even go into the Capitol. They was just there. Do you not hear these people's story that just got? Look at the pardons.
I'm with you.
It's 1,500 people. You telling me all those people deserve to be in jail?
No, we're not saying
No,
that.
Okay, so
no,
fine. Look,
not saying
okay,
that.
look. All I want is an investigation of Anthony Fauci. You said that you there. You said that people. You said that we didn't get what we want with January 6th. We got more than what we want. What are you talking about? Some people that didn't have nothing to do with nothing in jail. That took away from their families. That
But
was
we
just there.
hold on. But we're not talking about a penalty that was paid. What you said again, don't move the goalposts. What you said was those pardons, the people deserve an investigation. You didn't say they deserve a penalty. So now you're trying to change it to they went to jail. That's
I,
not the conversation. The
Cashmere,
conversation
we
was
all smart
they
here.
deserve those pardons deserve an investigation. That's what you said.
Cashmere, no, Cashmere.
That is what
That's
you
why
said.
I'm leading. This is why I'm leading to. There's American people complaining about Anthony Fauci gain of function research, him stealing the American dollar, him with AIDS, the AIDS epidemic. There's people complaining about this dude doing unlawful things, even creating COVID, right? There's people complaining about this outside of what you know. And we're saying all we want is an investigation. Forget what I'm saying. I'm telling you, people like Daquan, that's appalled what I'm saying. I said, forget what I'm saying. Can we get an investigation to prove the American people right? Because
But
there's people.
that's the
What?
same exact conversation.
No,
There are
but
people that are looking at the Jan Sixers and they are saying that they did things illegal. They are saying that they broke into a building, that they hurt people, that they kill people.
Who did they
They are
hurt?
saying that.
Who did they kill? Look
Hold
it
on,
up.
it
police
doesn't matter
officers.
because I
That's
didn't do that to you.
dumb.
No, I didn't do that to you. When you said they're complaining about Fauci, I didn't say, hold on, but what did he do? I let
But
you rock.
yes, no, but
I let
no,
you rock because it's not your complaint. You said it's the American people's complaint. So I
it's
didn't
not
make
the
you
American
explain
people's
it.
complaint.
I didn't make you explain it. So don't make me explain other people's complaints. What I'm saying is you have Americans on your side that you've said want an investigation of Fauci, not a pardon. And I'm saying, why don't you want the same or understand that on the other side they want the same thing from these pardons for the Jan Sixers? Same
Okay,
thing. It's the
okay,
same
so
thing.
okay, this is what I don't think you understand my argument. They went to court at least, right? You got to see some justice. No matter if you say they was jail long enough, they got something. We didn't even get a chance to even see what these people did. So now Daquan Cashmere is looking at Christian like he's crazy once again. And I'm telling you, this is the person that did something. Well, you robbed me of the chance of proving it to you. I can't prove it to you because even if I did, he ain't going to jail.
Well, because this the thing, right? In one instance, right? What I keep talking about conspiracy versus proven. That's what bothers my concern. We saw. Well, I live up here, so it was only literally 15 minutes away from me. Everybody saw January 6th on television with their own eyes, and you calling it propaganda. Meanwhile, you are talking about an allegation. one of which says that Fauci might have created COVID. When even the leader of your party came out and called it the Chinese flu, because we all know it came from China. So
It's the gain
you
of
no no
function
no
research.
no.
He
But
used China
hold on, wait,
laboratories.
come on,
He
hold on,
used
wait.
China
Let
laboratories
me
because he
land.
couldn't
Let
do it
me
in the
no.
United States. He could
Oh,
not
so
do it in the United States.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is the point I'm trying to make, right? That sound you see how wild that sounds, right? He went to China and went into a laboratory and created a flu to bring it back. Not only that, it was a worldwide flu. That's number one. Okay. Even so you saying this one man went over to a laboratory in China to create a flu to bring back to America. Listen to how far
Okay,
fetched
okay,
that
so
sounds, right?
okay, great.
And
So
then, but then you
Daquan,
will
okay,
come, but you
so
will
let me
say
let
we
me explain
spitting
this.
propaganda.
Okay, so Daquan, do you not know that there was a COVID virus before there were COVID
Yes,
19
COVID
viruses?
always been here,
Okay, so they've been there's called a gain. What is gain of function research?
but I don't know much about it. So you go ahead,
Okay, so
tell me.
there's people, there's scientists that play around with viruses to make
Right,
them viral to humans,
right,
right? They have certain laws here, which is I'll get this to Obama. He made gain of function research here illegal. So guess what? These people got connections, just like they got connections everywhere. China don't have strenuous laws like we have. So he
right,
could do certain shit. He could do it. He could do certain shit in China that he can't do here.
right.
So they created it out there, and we're living the same world. So of course, if they spread it there, they're gonna spread it here, right? But my thing is this: why are just like how you said this sound absurd, right? Why can't we get an investigation? Forget my words. Fuck what Christian's saying. Fuck what South Central conservatives saying. I don't want you to believe me. I want to. I just want to show you it. You robbed me of that. That's my argument.
No,
They
because this
robbed
the
us of it.
thing. But this the thing, Christian. This what I want to. This I want to ask you. If
Yeah,
I just go out and said Christian killed two people, but I have no evidence of it, I'm just giving a blanket allegation. Do you think it's right that people drag you through the courts to try to prove just because I say it?
but okay. So mind you, like I said, context
I'm just
matters.
asking that question. Yes or no? No,
No,
no.
but
This is the context because the
I'll answer your
context
question.
is that yeah. Answer the question
I'll
because the
answer your question.
context is that
What
these are words that people are saying. Nobody has seen this.
many people have seen, I'm telling you, they got plenty of scientists that work side by side with him. You got Dr. Judy Mikovich, right? She stole his. He stole. They got videos of it. Basically, he's very corrupt. In order for him to get in his
Hold on.
spot, he had to.
Let's say what you were saying.
Judy Mikovich. Basically, he stole her research. It's a she was almost killed. Her and her husband. She was she was disbarred from her practice. She can't even practice anymore due to Anthony Fauci. That was one of his scientists that
And
he
what's
worked
her name?
alongside
Judy
with.
what?
Judy Mikovich.
Mick.
Judy Mikovich.
Okay.
Basically, she knows that he's corrupt, right? Just like him doing illegal gain of research here with the dogs, right? With the dogs, he was basically torturing them. He does things like this that nobody could. You would never imagine that somebody is that evil. We're telling you that this stuff is happening. Just because you say we're making it up out of nowhere, nobody just wakes up and say, Daquan, I know, nigga, I'm black, bro. Who wakes up this in the morning and say, you know what,
Trump
Anthony
does.
Fauci's a murderer?
Trump
Like
does.
it gotta stem from something. It gotta stem from something, bro.
It stems from conspiracy theories.
But
The
also,
conservative, listen, the conservative party has became a party of conspiracy theories, bro. And I listen. I'm not saying that to try to diminish anybody believe whatever, but like I'm just wondering, dude, like y'all take some of the most far fetched stuff. Like for instance, like let's go back to the cats and dogs, bro. There is no way on God's green, bro. That a sane human being believe that there's a group of people cooking cats and dogs in Ohio, dog. Like it just don't make sense, bro. It don't. And like you like even like with the thing when he asked you a simple question earlier, do you believe that Trump sat down and he put wet ink on 1,500 pieces of shit paper? Because first of all, each and every single person have to have their own pardon slip. That's just how pardons work. They have to have their own documentation. Okay. And you said could be, but it's like, dude, like at some point, man, we got to come back to reality. The reason that I'm gonna tell you the main reason why I hated Trump so bad. I don't want to use the term hate. I just dislike him so much because when none of this stuff was happening, until Trump came out in his first presidency and
Hmm.
started saying that the media was the enemy of the people and fake news, fake news, fake news. When that term came about, everybody believed everything was wrong. Everybody started believing everything was a lie. But then the person who actually telling the lies in front of our face, oh, we got to put it in context. He didn't mean it that way. He didn't do. No, man, no. You don't get to drag somebody through the court system based off of an allegation, dude. You can't do that. There
It
has to
is
be a level of
right.
there has
I
to be a
really,
level of evidence first.
I
And
really,
if they
I,
have evidence, then they should take it to whatever. But obviously they don't have nothing.
okay. So my question is this: doesn't every allegation start with somebody pointing a finger at them?
Yes. But guess what? Guess what? You don't just you can't just send somebody. You can't just go and put somebody through a criminal case because somebody said something they did something.
We
No,
don't
you have
want
to
you to go
invest.
through a criminal case. We just want you to be investigated because the people in your, if you're the head, what is it called? He was the head of the health organization, whatever, the right, the health organization, whatever,
WHO, yeah.
WHO, right? He's not. You think he gonna allow himself to be investigated?
Well, you think it's that easy?
If you, bro, look, like I
You
said,
do know he was there when Trump was president, right?
yeah. So my thing is this: he was there when the AIDS epidemic happened, and he gave out when remdesivir. So basically, what I'm saying is this: he has a history of this, even with Bill Gates and things like that. What I'm saying is this: history is history. We can't manipulate it. These people have been corrupt. They got up in the food chain, and now it's people speaking out against them. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. What I'm saying is this: you
But
deserve.
you don't even
Let,
know
let
it.
me
You just
explain. Let me
saying
explain.
it.
Let me explain. Not only do I know, you deserve to know. So therefore, we can stop fighting amongst each other, and we can go back into the drawing boards and understand that if there's gain of function research, there has to be evil scientists that let viruses get out of the lab. It's just what it is.
It happened in China. That's literally why the head of your party called it the China flu,
And
which
there's
he wasn't supposed to. Which he wasn't supposed to say that.
okay,
But
and there's China nationals here. It's China spies here. It's China spies who work in our government. It's China is Russian spies who work in our government. Right? There's Israeli spies working in our government. And I would say to conspiracy theory, back then when people alleged that the government killed Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy, that was a conspiracy. Like when are we gonna understand that? When are we gonna understand that the government is not who you think they are?
no, it's not that.
It's good. It's good to challenge government. I never heard of not challenging them. When Trump said fake news, it's basically challenging what you see. What's wrong with that? Okay, how
But
do I know if it's fake news?
but you're talking about somebody that was under Trump's administration, dude.
That's fine because at the end of the day, that to me that means a squad of nothing. That doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve to be that he doesn't deserve to be investigated. I don't
You don't believe at this point because of how much Trump hates Fauci, he would have released whatever documentation that proved that Fauci was doing whatever.
I don't think Trump is running his administration just hating Fauci and going after him. I literally
What?
believe that the American people just want him to be investigated. I don't think that Trump is as smart as people think he is, to be honest. Because
He's not.
he
You're
okay
right.
fine. He wanted the COVID
Hey,
vaccine.
we agreed on
I agree on
something.
that one.
We agreed on
You
something.
got
Let's
to, bro.
go.
Okay,
You got to. I
so
give you
my
that
thing
one.
is this: he wanted the inoculations, right? And we went again we went against it. So therefore, I believe that Trump. You say Trump hate him, but he went exactly with what he wanted as far as the forced vaccinations. What I'm
Oh,
saying is
So Trump corrupt too, right?
he could be, yeah. I mean, if knowledge could corrupt individuals, just like you. If you don't know something, you say that Christian conspiracy theories or South Central is a conspiracy theorist. I'm trying to let you know that this shit happens every day. It's not just I'm making this shit up.
No,
It
what I'm
Yeah.
happens
saying
every
is
day.
the reason why I said that is because like you just said something earlier. You said that I know and I'm gonna let you know. And because you were saying it. The fact is you don't know. You're gonna know what somebody else said.
No, look,
You don't have any evidence that that man went into a lab in China outside of what somebody said or wherever you heard from someplace. You have no evidence that that man went into a lab in China and
Daquan.
created the. First of all, he couldn't create COVID because COVID been here. That's
No,
number
but
one.
you create
But
certain SARS. You create certain. You can
yeah,
mix and match them. That's
yeah, you're
called
talking
gain
about
of function
strands. You're
research.
talking about strands. What I'm
Yes,
saying is, do you have any video of that man going into a lab in China and creating a strand of COVID?
I got video of them talking about COVID. them talking about the plan of how they gonna shut the country down before that's just 2020 before
When
2020.
you say them, are you talking about Fauci?
He was he's involved,
I
of
know, but are
course.
you?
Wait, you said that was
He
before
specifically
2020?
asked you about Fauci, so
Yes,
I'm
they've been
saying,
had him.
is that Fauci?
That him too. Yes, he's a part. He's a pawn in a World Economic Forum pocket. He's one of the
Okay,
pawns.
so I'm not challenging that. I just want to. I'm trying to streamline the debate. So I'm saying he asked. He specifically said you don't have evidence of him going into a lab in China and creating this. You said yes, you do, and so but then you brought up there's video of the World Economic Forum talking about how to control, but you're not saying that Fauci did it. Not
But
is he involved with them? Specific to his question, do you have evidence specific to you stating Fauci went into a lab in China and created COVID or this strand of COVID?
yes, do you know what the World Health Organization is?
That's WHO. That was I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
Who you think they make laws for? Like who do you think that they organize basically? Other
For
countries,
the
right?
world.
Every country,
Yeah,
right?
for the world, yeah.
Okay.
Ain't Anthony Fauci in that?
Yeah.
But Anthony Fauci's not in what's his name anymore.
Not I didn't say he is now. I'm talking about ain't that where he come from? Like ain't he a part of that?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
well, it's a lot of other people part of it too.
That
So
exactly,
why are
but
you just blaming Anthony Fauci?
Go
because
ahead.
he's in our country doing it to us. That's why I can't talk about
Okay.
anybody else.
So no, that's good. You at least started with some good facts, but then you kind of just stopped
Yeah.
because the question
No.
is still, is there evidence of him going to Wuhan, China, and creating this strand of the coronavirus? And then you said, have you ever heard about WHO? Wasn't he a part of it? And then you kind of like leaving it there, like, okay,
Because
but
it's self evident. Basically, if the WHO is talking about COVID SARS, right? They need people to push it. They need people to create it. They need people to enforce, right? Give advice as far as how to stay home. Don't go outside. Wear 2 masks. Wear 3 masks. Don't talk to your neighbor. They need somebody to push it. Who's the pushers? Who are
Why
we
do you
listening to? Who
Why
are
do
we
you
listening
think?
to?
Well,
Go ahead.
even Trump eventually had to. I'm not gonna catch you, bro. Like I caught COVID.
Trump would, but
I caught that Delta. I caught that second strand, and that wasn't not only that me and my wife at the time. She was pregnant, dude. That wasn't no joke. That jump was very hard. I was because I also do music. You guys, your boy, you have a little shameless plug.
I
Daquan
see you.
Jr.
I see
I
you.
was on tour at that time, and I had to go play in Alabama. But I stayed in Atlanta overnight. And I went to Alabama, so I was. But my wife at the time came and got me from Atlanta, and we stayed in South Carolina and Columbia at her family's place, and I caught COVID. Dude, we had to stay in at her cousin's house, dude, for like 4 weeks. Like we couldn't move because I caught it and I brought it to them. She was pregnant at the time. She couldn't take any medication to make her body feel better, dude. My kids caught it. Younger children, they don't have as severe as symptoms as as adults, but my kids caught it at the time, dude. Like that junk wasn't no joke. Like, dude, I lost 20 pounds. I'm still big, but I was big as I lost 20 pounds, bro. Like I couldn't taste nothing. That junk, what it wasn't, this wasn't nothing fake, right? And so what the problem that I had with conservatives in this whole thing was people were actually dying. And y'all were mad that they were telling people to stay away from each other because it's a contagious virus. That doesn't make any logical sense to anybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter how it got over here. The fact is that they told everybody stay away from each other. It at that point because they don't want it to spread anymore. And you guys had a problem. Even if Fauci went into a lab, which I don't believe that, but I'm gonna give it to you. Even if Fauci went into a lab, and that's just like if somebody, dude, that's just like if you catch a cold or something, like the flu. You're gonna tell your family, hey, stay away from me. I got the flu. I don't want you to get sick. But you're talking about like a virus that was attacking people like in such bad ways that people were dying. And conservatives like, well, why we got to stay away from people? Why we got to stay in the house? Why we got to wear masks? That does not make logical sense anywhere. But if y'all want to go out there and if you go check the statistics, Alabama, of course, one of the conservative states, Georgia, one of the conservative states. That's where I caught it at. Conservative states outside of New York, conservative states suffered from that COVID stuff the most because they wanted to be ignorant. Oh, we not doing that. We gonna listen to Trump. Then Trump end up catching it. Trump go on TV after he caught it, and next thing you know, he got a mask on. So who's telling the truth then? That's what I'm saying, dude. Like at some time, I'm trying to get conservatives to bring it to reel it back into reality, man. Real life is even if you had the stomach virus, dude, you don't need to be around people anyway. So y'all blame Anthony Fauci for telling everybody to stay in the house, stay away from people. That don't make sense, man. It just don't.
Thoughts?
Um, it just to me it's like, dang, y'all so lost, bro. It's just I didn't say COVID was fake. I'm just saying that they did over enhance it to scare people. You don't understand that the government rises off of fear, like just like 9/11, fear, 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 weapons of mass destruction. It gets people to be controlled through fear,
That's true.
and it's not
Just like
that
Trump.
Anthony Fauci was telling you to do something right. Like you gotta understand that he
He's
had
wrong.
through the Freedom of Information Act, he have emails and texts saying telling people basically don't listen to what he's saying, and his rhetoric changed every few months, even weeks of one mask, two masks. It's like they just trying to see how far they can get you to do stuff.
When did
And
they ever say wear two masks?
I wish I could show you, but basically, it's even with the vaccines, bro. You can look at it that way. He's telling you take one vaccine, take two, take three. Now it's a continuous thing. It's just fear. They push on fear. And my thing is, where does it end? When do people start asking questions? It's like people like me, the people that ask questions are the crazy ones. But then when stuff like I said, and this is always, and I think that this is becoming a normal thing now to where by the time things come out to be true, nobody cares. Like nobody gonna apologize to that conspiracy theories that they talked about that sound real crazy. Nobody gonna reach back out to that dude that they basically shame because it's so normal to think normal now. Like you don't understand that the government is against you. It's just it's the truth. And like a person like me that been exposed to seeing certain things as far as like I don't even get into it. The stuff that I've seen that the government take part of, you wouldn't even believe it. And
I
they
used
got
to work for the government for 10 years, dude. I seen a lot in there.
no, I mean corruption.
Including Trump coming in and all of that. Trump tried to take over our agency, all of that, dude. Like, well, he got rid of them now because we this whole other stuff. Like people that were close to me were the head of my agency. They were giving me opportunities. I've seen a lot of stuff happen in, in these agencies, dude. I worked for VOA. He just cut VOA a couple of days ago. Some of my old coworkers got received that email on Saturday. I worked for them for 10 years, bro.
No, no,
10.
I understand what you say. I'm not trying to take away your experience, and I'm sure it did change. A lot of people have a difference of opinion, but I'm just trying to bring it home now. Basically saying that like I understand where you're coming from because I used to think like that. Like I mean, the stuff that you would ignorance is bliss, and I'm not saying that you dumb or stupid, but people live their life the way they live it. Nobody
Right.
gonna go and research this shit because it's too wonky, right? It's too crazy. Some stuff is just too much to the human mind because our reality is our reality. But I would say that sometimes people need to take like in order to learn what people are saying, even on the conservative side, you call them conspiracy theorists.
Hmm.
I would appreciate if people just listen to what they saying because no baby cries for no reason, right? You got people on the other side saying things. It might sound crazy to you. You might have worked in these government programs or these government. You worked in the government, fine. You might have seen most things that I didn't see, but
Right.
the thing is that it's a world outside of what we know, right? As far as who's involved, as far as who our government is controlled by, and Trump is just he's just to me I like Trump a lot. I rock with Trump, but it's deeper than him because after him, what do we do? Because we still have the same problems, regardless if he in or not, and we still have the same people. You say that white people are oppressing us. I believe that the system is oppressing everyone. We're getting overtaxed, we're getting overused and abused, and our culture is f. Not even black culture. I'm talking about American culture, right?
Hmm.
Because it's not even just that black women are going against men, and
I give you that.
it's everybody now. So it's becoming our culture
Hmm.
where we're straying away from certain things. And I always ask myself why, because to me it started in the hood first. We seen it first. It hit us first. Now it's hitting mainstream. Now everybody tripping like, dang, like why is it like this? Because it hit us first. Most of the time, it always hit black people first because we like. I think the projects is the project. To be honest,
Yeah.
projects is the project, and they use us first, lab test us, and then they use it on the world, right? And
Yeah.
this is where my point of contention comes with the government, man. And Trump is like I said, he to me he's doing the right thing, but everybody have a difference of opinion. But it doesn't stop with Trump, and it didn't start with him. That's all I'm saying.
But he's doing the right. uh, Okay, so this is my point that I'm saying about conspiracy theory, right? Like you said earlier, even with the JFK thing, right? Everything is a conspiracy if you don't actually know what's going on. You think you know what's going on, and that's the point that I'm trying to make, bro.
But you
Like
gotta
yeah,
understand.
and but this, hold on, let me stand. Well, go ahead. Go, look, what I'm saying is that just because you saw a piece of literature someplace, whether it was a wherever you say, wherever you got this information from, does that make it right? Does that make it truthful? No, it doesn't. That's just like how now you seeing what everybody was saying at first about the JFK stuff. Now stuff coming out until you actually see it for real. And guess what? And let's be honest with you. Even whatever was written in there may not be fully true. But the problem that I have is that you I said something earlier about January 6th because everybody saw it with their own eyes. And you called that propaganda, bro. Everybody saw that with their own eyes. And what you as conservatives want us to do, after you telling us that we tripping for hearing and seeing something with our own ears and eyes, is to listen to y'all when y'all tell us something that we can't see or hear. How are you? Who? I'm trying to get to a point of you saying ignorance is bliss, right? No, you can't say that somebody is ignorant to something that you don't even have full evidence of. You're listening to somebody else. You're looking at whatever you're seeing, whatever you're hearing from somebody else. You weren't there. You weren't there. That just like we can go on, like I said, we can go back to the Central Five part. Trump wasn't there. But guess what? You made a great argument earlier. He was a white man in New York who thought that because everybody was saying that these young black boys did it, he believed that they did it.
They said it
And
did.
guess what? And yeah, no. Well, somebody went in and they coerced them to do that. But guess
We don't
what?
know that. We didn't know that at the time.
Trump, he eventually knew, but still, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter if he knew it or not at the time. What I'm saying is that even when the guy, the Hispanic guy, came out and said that he did it, Trump just said, yeah, you know what, whatever. But he can believe whatever he want to believe. It's about the evidence, right? That means in that case, right? Even if those kids said they did it, where was the investigation? Where was the evidence that they did it? There was none. And you sent kids to prison just off of mouth, off of word of mouth. You got people in there creating these stories against them or whatever. But guess what? There still was no proper investigation and proof sent out to anybody in this world, because if there was, they would have known that those kids didn't do it. And this
But
is what I'm talking about by just believing stuff that you hear, bro. Like, you can't just believe everything. Everybody not against you, dude. Yes, the government is corrupt. They completely corrupt. But conservatives, you keep talking about fear mongering. Trump got y'all believing that people crossing the border taking y'all jobs, dude. There is nothing that you do. I can guarantee you with the success that you have, that those immigrants taking your jobs from, bro.
bro,
Nothing,
bro,
nothing.
I'm gonna be 100% with you, dude. I've been working construction since I've been out of prison, dude. Like
You work construction now.
I build elevators, man. But yeah, they take our jobs, man. And
Yeah. So
it's not fear mongering, man. My father was killed by illegal immigrants. Look, I'm not.
That still doesn't make it not.
it
Even though
is fear
that's a
mongering.
tragedy. That's a tragedy.
Yeah,
But
but they
it
doing
still doesn't
But it
change.
doesn't happen that high of a rate versus people that live here. People
Jesus.
that there is way more domestic violence that you even talked about earlier about black on black crime, dude. There is way more people in America that create these type of crimes against each other than he literally He literally put fear on a whole group of people that are trying to come here and earn a living. And I don't
It
know if
doesn't
you know
matter.
how.
You do it legally. You don't.
But,
You
but,
don't.
but do
It don't
you know
matter.
the process? Do you know the
I don't care
process
about
of,
the process. All right. So let me ask you this question.
what is
Look,
the what is the legal way to
said a lot.
become? What is the
You
legal way
said
to
a lot,
become?
man.
Yeah. What is? I'm asking you the question. What is the legal way to become a citizen here? And how long does it take?
It takes a long time, but that's not my question to you is this: those who did it right and did take a long time to do it, and
Right.
it did pay the lawyer fees. What about them? Do they just say I should have just did it legally? Then you can't enforce the
No,
law.
no, no.
You can't enforce the law on them and don't enforce it on everybody.
Well, because no, the problem is this: there are people that are coming to this country seeking asylum, or whatever it may be, whatever
There's a
it may be.
process for that.
Yeah, I know. But guess what? That process takes a lot of
You
time
gotta wait,
because we
man.
don't have. Yeah, but he's kicking them out before they can get their court dates.
You can't break the law and then say, "Hey, let me follow the law."
Do you all right? So you believe? So you do believe? So do you believe that? Do you believe that that the people who came who became citizens now, that they didn't originally just come over and broke the law? They came over to seek asylum. Everybody didn't just
Okay,
come through.
okay,
No,
so fine. Every extreme causes another extreme. You got people doing that. They did it the wrong way. Doesn't mean it's okay to do it the wrong way. My thing is this: if you do it the wrong way, you know what come with it. Now, if you get away with it and you good, fine. But if you get caught, fair.
but that's why I'm
You
asking you.
can't you can't complain when you get caught because
All right,
when
so
everything's good, you
I'm
straight.
that's why I'm asking you. What is the right way? Do you know the right way?
The right way is to go through the proper procedures because you
What
undercut
are the
those.
proper
Listen,
procedures?
I just told you, like it's lawyer fees. I met a whole bunch of legal immigrant, first
Mhm.
generation legal immigrants
Right.
who who basically did it the correct way. They have to pay a whole bunch of lawyer fees. A lot of times they get kicked out, got to come back, and bro, at the end of the day, they went through that, and you basically undermining their story because them people are conservative. And I hate to say it, but those people don't like when people cut the line because they have to pay. They didn't have the money. These people have to work 3 or 4 jobs to get lawyers to pay for those immigrant
But
lawyers.
how were they over here? How were they over here before they was able to work those 3 4 jobs to get
They
lawyers?
seek asylum. They might have got kicked out the first time, but they figured it out. They seek asylum, but
Right.
also they get the time to do. They get the time to apply for the to apply for
Right.
to apply to be American the right way. My thing is this: there's a process and there's kinks to everything. There's process and ways to get around it in every way. My thing is off the back, just getting the phone and saying come here and try to go to a sanctuary city where the American people have to pay for it while we struggling. That's the wrong way because we didn't make America and bust our behinds for everybody just to come in, bust in into our sanctuary that we built. Because, like you say, black people did all
Yeah,
this.
we did
I
that.
don't want nobody. If we built this country, why would I want somebody to take it from me?
Well, because this how I feel. I feel like first of all, I believe that this country don't belong to me, and I also feel like the
Then go
same way
back.
that other no go well. First of all, my grandparents are Haitian, so I mean I can't go over there right now. But so that's why
What?
I know a lot about
Oh,
this. I know a lot about this. My grandma and grandma, my granddad Haitian or whatever, and so it took them a very
man.
long time for them to get their citizenship. What I'm telling you is that this is not a simple process, right? So what could have been done, which was something that the Democrats did put on the table, was you hire more judges. You hire more immigration judges, dude, and that will allow more people to come through the process and through a quicker, like through a quicker measure. It's simple. It's people are literally leaving like you keep saying, and not only that, there's only really one group of people that Trump is constantly talking about breaking the law. Like there's not other immigrants that come to this country unlawfully.
Huh.
They go through Mexico.
No,
They go through our border states through Mexico. They go through our
he's
border
he's
states.
he's only talking about Mexicans. He's not
It's so
talking
many
about the
of them.
no,
I don't
but
get. I don't care who you talk about. They're wrong. I don't care if you could talk about lizards that cross the border the wrong way. If it's one, it's wrong. It doesn't matter. They're doing it illegally. So my thing is this: when do we start defending ourselves? Because you can't go to Mexico and do it. I promise you, you can't.
you
I
can
don't
you
care
can
who you talking about.
you can go pull up on Mexico where you probably gonna have problems when you get down there, but you can go pull up over there if you want.
Why are we so wrong for? Why are we so wrong for protecting our saint
It's not about
our
that. No, it's not about it. It's about giving these people an opportunity,
I
dude.
don't care about no opportunities when we ain't got no opportunities. See, this the black
But
thing.
you
Y'all
just said
y'all care
earlier
about
that
black
we
until
had
until the system.
opportunity. You the one who said earlier that we
Yes,
had opportunity.
we do, but we're not going to allow them to exploit our opportunities because if we fighting against them, they're not sending them to Martha's Vineyard. They sending them to communities like ours. They're not sending them to the white folks people place they can't afford it, so they coming to our
Yeah, you're
places.
right. Well, you're right.
So
Yeah, usually.
we fighting against them in the streets. We fighting against them for a job. We fighting against them to even a government assistance because they abstracting it. So we need that we work for it. So
Do
why
you know?
watching it? Go
All right,
ahead.
Do you know how many? Oh, go
real
ahead.
quick in the chat. Uh, Patrick Jones was saying that you have to have legal entry. You have to have you have to have a credible fear in your country.
Creditable. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He also says
Yeah, exactly.
most people who come, he corrected and said we meant legally. Most people
Overstay
who
their
come
visa.
legally overstay their visa.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fact.
But it's
That's
wrong.
what they
It's
do.
wrong.
But
Okay,
that's what
so
I'm
my
saying.
thing is
He's
this.
not going after them though. Like that's doesn't. Why not? What I'm
Okay,
saying is the point that I'm trying to make is that dude, like you're gonna go out there and you create a gold card, right? You create a gold card trying to get people from all of these other countries to come over here, from these European countries to come over here and do whatever. Talking about come crazy, you come get a gold card. You blah blah blah. He just announced that the other day, but you can't give people who literally trying to like flee from like you can't give them a passageway to citizenship.
but you don't know everybody's situation either, bro. Like you can't honestly say, just like those 15,000 them 1,500 signed signature, you do not know everybody's situation. A lot of people came here because they heard it's green on that border. Like, hey, I got in this way, come through.
But you just
It's
got
not
done saying I don't care if it's a lizard. If it's one, it's wrong. So I mean, you don't know everybody's situation either. That's the whole
I
point.
it doesn't I don't care about look, I'm just going like I said, when he's making us a comment, I'm just responding to his comment. I could say I could say that it's wrong completely, but if he makes it a debate, I could just keep saying, "Oh, it's wrong completely. It's wrong completely." But I'm not engaged into the conversation. I'm trying to
No,
engage.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
because like I said, you making it what Trump is doing is he making the whole thing absolute. He's talking about everybody that's coming over. He's not keeping certain people. It's not. He's going after this one group of people. And he talking about them as a whole. All of them aren't out here creating crimes. Some of them actually are doing what they need to do for our society, bro. Like
I
what?
don't care about what they do. They're illegal. Like, why do I care about them more than I care about my veterans? Why do I like, bro? We
Because
overlooking
America
so many
has
people
due
that just went.
process, bro. Because
Has due pro- You don't break in and have due process.
Man,
we have
but that's not.
we have a due process that not everybody is breaking in. I think that's what he's saying about he's
Yes.
applying it to everybody. Not everybody is breaking in.
So why is he
He's doing it
deporting them?
to everybody. He's doing it to because there are actually people that are actually better than citizens that we have here that can come and contribute to our society, bro. Like we have ignorant people in our country, dude.
Why we
And
just
they
don't follow the
and
law? Why are we arguing for illegal like why we
well
just don't follow the law? They
well
force me to
you
do it. They
well
force
we
me
but
to do
listen
it.
we don't
At one point we were illegal, so there's kindred spirits.
Oh,
no,
But
oh
but
my
not only that,
God.
we didn't got to
Oh
go
my
that far.
God.
I don't like conservative
Oh
talking
my God.
about following the law now
you don't like that.
when we part in
It
January
don't matter.
6th.
That
Let's
doesn't
not
come
talk
into the
about following
conversation.
the law. We're not
Oh
gonna
my
do that.
god.
Yeah, it's that's this a lot of stuff I see on like on TV. Everybody is whataboutism this, whataboutism that. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like it's you don't bring up following the law when y'all not following the law. Your president don't even following the law, bro.
Man,
Like
at
I
the end of
mean,
the day,
so
at the end of the day, I understand you don't like Trump, but the law is a law. If he gonna enforce it, he's not wrong for it. It's some that won't enforce it, it's some that will. They had their time here, they had their fun, they were sending money back home, taking care of family. They didn't think it was gonna become a time where somebody gonna enforce the law. You can't get mad at somebody enforcing the laws. It doesn't make sense to me because when you're
so
winning and eating and you doing good, everybody quiet. But soon as somebody say, "Hey, look, you had enough fun, dip," now everybody mad. No, that ain't how that works.
whenever Trump had got in trouble for that case in New York, why he get mad because he broke the law?
What?
Whenever Trump got so upset, which he ended up, they couldn't sentence him because he became president. Why did he get so upset because he broke the law with them 34 felonies? It was fraud, right? The New York case, the big case that everybody keep getting upset about.
Bro,
Come on, the hush money. You know what it
Yeah,
is.
bro.
but when he was committing fraud on all of those documents to help himself build up his wealth a little bit more. He been doing it for years. Everybody knew that. But when
So
he
you
got caught, so
so
why he got upset whenever
th-
he needed to follow the
that's a
law?
whole different conversation, bro. You're
No,
moving
it's
the
the same
goalpost.
thing. It's the same thing.
No,
Like
it's not,
he
bro.
was doing it, and then he got caught. He was
We
doing it for
talking,
years. He got caught. Just
Jay.
like you saying
We're
that
talking about.
immigrants were doing it for years and they got caught.
All right, this
Trump
is what
was
I'm gonna
doing it
start
for
doing.
years.
I'm gonna keep you on the same subject. We could talk about this. I'm not ducking, but bruh, we talking about immigration here, illegal immigration. What
Right.
I'm saying is this. My standpoint on this is this: when you hear everything's good, we chilling. Doesn't mean that you're not here illegally. You know that in the back of your head. And I had a talk with one of my boys. Me and him fell out because of this, because his mom is a legal immigrant and she been here for 20 some years, and he was mad that he was a veteran and he was mad that they was gonna send her back. But I said, bro, all them 20 years when you were raised here, she came here and did what she wanted to do to raise you here. Why are you mad now? All of a sudden the laws is being enforced now. Why now? When everybody chilling. But when you can't do that, it's a yin and a yang to everything. That's like you being unfair and unappreciative, because when you were getting away with something that you know was wrong, because once you busting into the border, you gotta find some type of loophole to get here illegally. You know it's wrong because you gotta sneak in this bitch. So you know it's
Right.
wrong. So when you
So
get caught, just because you're comfortable does not mean it's wrong.
yeah, so my point for bringing up that was that you can't keep talking about illegality in law if you and people feeling some kind of way for getting caught when our president of the United States have been for years breaking the law, and he gets caught, and now he has a vendetta towards everybody that investigated him, everybody that put him in the place he was at because he was doing illegal stuff too. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, bro, at some point
That's
we
perception.
have
I
to
don't
be
believe
fair
that.
about everything. We
Okay,
have
I'm
to
being
be.
fair. I don't. I will be mad if people keep forcing stuff, keep putting me back and forth to court as a president when they didn't do the same thing for the big man with the deal, with the
What big
oil
man?
deal in China. They didn't mess with him. They didn't do
What
all
big
this.
man?
Yeah. So we don't know about that. We know about the
No,
scam
I know
money,
about the stuff that I said. I don't know what big because you didn't say a name.
Joe Biden. So basically, they
You
didn't
call
get
him
mad
the
about the
big man?
laptop.
Oh, because it's yeah, that was what
I wanted to. Yeah, that was one of the
it was
things in
referred
the
to as
text
big man.
message. Yeah, in the
But
text message.
they don't mess with him,
Yeah.
right? The same Justice Department that he owned. Why they didn't play fair? Play fair. Get your boy too. Nobody's against the.
They got Hunter Biden.
They have a lot of. They coin a lot of terms that they don't believe in. All skin folk ain't kin folk. No one's above the law. But when it come to they folks, tax the rich. But when they got when they got what's my boy name, George Soros, funding all this foolishness, funding all the wars, funding all the protests, funding all the corrupt judges. Oh no, don't tax him. No, leave him out. But Elon Musk, billionaire. We got to stop him. What about all the
Elon Musk is
billionaires?
in the White House, dude.
Look,
Imagine
let me.
if George Soros.
You
Imagine
gonna
if
stop
them.
it?
If
Hey,
Joe Biden threw George Soros in that White House, y'all would be losing y'all mind, man.
no.
This is
Listen,
so crazy to me right here. This
no. They
doesn't
don't
make no
listen.
sense, dude.
Listen, Daquan. He doesn't need to be in the White House because he's a billionaire. He paid for the orders. He funds everything. He funds Black Lives Matter. He funds Antifa. He look at look who George Soros is. Look who his son is. He's the money behind everything.
All
So
right,
he fun. He
so hold on real quick before we jump into a whole new lane.
Yeah,
Uh,
we
my,
got.
my my brothers, we have been on here for a good amount of time.
Oh, you right. You
We have
right.
had
You
a
right. My
spirited
bad. My bad, y'all.
conversation,
My bad.
and
Y'all
I
right.
can tell
Y'all right.
that
Y'all
this
right.
conversation can go on and on. Hopefully, I
Right.
can get you
Right.
guys.
Right.
Hopefully, I can get you guys back on. Maybe we can do this at least one more time. But here is my ask to both of you: to both of you, and I mean this genuinely to both of you. Usually, when you have, two smart gentlemen speaking about a conversation on opposite sides, the answer is usually somewhere in the middle. And I'm not saying it's spot on in the middle on any of these topics, but I am saying that a lot of the times it's not as far skewed to one side or the other as both parties may think. So if you could take some time, take in what was said from the other person, watch this back, and do some research, but really be open to it. Because the same way I heard Christian say, hey, I used to think like that until my eyes were open. Well, guess what? The beauty that God gives us in this life is our eyes are always opening. The dangerous part is when you feel like they finally opened for the last time. And that ain't true. There's always more to learn. There's always more to grow. So I just don't want any of us to be like, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. I know it all. No, I know it all. You don't. No, you don't. And then we all just kind of stay there. Then the whole conversation is worthless. Then we just talking just to be talking.
Right.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna let y'all both sign off. I'm just gonna say real quick, I really, really, really appreciate both of you brothers and for your contributions to the show today. I'm gonna go with our guest first. Daquan, please.
All right, hey, appreciate y'all having me on, man. Hey, South Central, definitely pleasure debating you, man. Glad you came on. I was like, I had to come say something to him, but yeah, man. This actually my first time doing this. Besides going off on people on social media, but this definitely was some fun, man. I definitely appreciate your time, man. Thank you, Cashmere, for having me on, dude. It was a last minute thing. I know I wrote on your, your YouTube comments, man. This was fun, man. I definitely enjoyed being back. And listen, Cashmere, continue do. I mean, South Central, continue do what you're doing, man, for the community. Continue to be a role model for younger people around you, because I definitely understand where you're coming from. Where our community needs more role models. Continue to do that, bro. And that I'm gonna leave it there.
Appreciate you. South Central.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, Daquan, for coming in, man. And I ain't gonna lie, you swung. You swung. I appreciate the debate because sometimes we do listen to our own echo chamber, so it's refreshing to hear different perspectives, and especially coming from other Black people, man, how they think and what they think about, and coming respectfully. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes I can get a little out of hand. Though it's just a South Central in me. I'll be trying to tone down. It's like, hey, man, that's enough. But yeah, I do need to work on that, man. But like I said again, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Cashmere, for having me, man. You my brother. Last time wasn't fun. You feel what I'm saying? It didn't end the right way, man. But hopefully I made this up, Daquan. Yeah, man. You sent me a notable source out here, man. So I wasn't gonna do it. I had to ask my boy, what are we doing? How we doing this?
It's all love. It's all love. Daquan,
Yeah.
you didn't hear how we end the show. South Central knows. I'm gonna say pod is good. Y'all say all the time. I'm gonna say all the time. Y'all say pod is good. You got me?
Right.
All right, pod is good.
All the
All the
time.
time.
And all the time.
Pod
God
is
is
good.
good.
Brothers, thank you so much. Everybody, salute y'all for watching the show. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please subscribe. Keep watching. Keep staying tuned. If you want to be on the show and talk to one of these gentlemen or be in another conversation, just let me know. That being said, we are out.